Chapter 315. Chapter 315. Rao Sherman was leaving. Qin Feng narrated the whole story while Qin Huang just kept silent and listened. When Qin Huang heard Elder Zhou had come on a punitive expedition against Qin Feng, who'd faced all 5 VIPs from the Zhou family alone, Qin Huang tensed up, furrowing his brows deeply and gritting his teeth tightly. When he heard that Qin Feng exposed the powers behind this incident to suppress Elder Zhou, Qin Huang felt proud in his heart and nodded his head in satisfaction. On learning that the Zhou family wanted to kill Qin Feng on the spot, Qin Huang clenched his fist tightly with a crackling sound. When he heard that his son bested the 4 sons of the Zhou family, Qin Huang was so happy that he almost whistled and applauded. Qin Feng's story was too exciting, and the negotiation had been tumultuous and crisis-ridden. In the end, the news that stunned Qin Huang the most was the Zhou family's decision to step down as one of the 4 major families. Qin Huang then gazed fixedly at Qin Feng, unable to accept the truth. He was trying to gauge the veracity of his son's words via Qin Feng's smiles and dodging eyes. But Qin Feng didn't change his expression even the slightest. He retained his solemn look and talked stoutly without a hint of jocularity. "Fenger, about those things you said just now, were they all true?" Qin Huang asked again. "None of those were lies." "Phew." Qin Huang took a deep breath, his eyes flashing with brightness, and he was so excited that he wanted to shout. He realized that his son had changed. His son had become more and more outstanding, calm, and unflustered. He was no longer an ignorant and incompetent hedonist young master who'd only flirt with girls. He was now an indomitable man who could handle any crisis on his own. Qin Feng even had the thought, if Elder Zhou came to capture him with his 4 sons, would he be able to handle the tense situation as calmly as Qin Feng had? Could he himself think of a way to suppress the foe with sheer strength, and not only shatter the psychological defenses of the Zhou family, but also make them apologize to himself? Qin Huang shook his head. He realized he wouldn't have been able to handle the situation perfectly and achieve a favorable outcome on his own. Suddenly, he realized his son had surpassed him before he knew it. Qin Huang was pleased by Qin Feng's changes, and he was almost moved to tears. Not tears of sadness, but of delight and pride. "Chairman Qin." Uncle Fu suddenly appeared at the door and interrupted the father and son's conversation. "Come in, Uncle Fu." Qin Huang waved his hand. He knew something big must have happened. If not, Uncle Fu wouldn't disturb them so casually. With a few large strides, Uncle Fu arrived in front of Qin Huang. He had a grimly puzzled expression on his face as he said, "The Zhou family's elder has announced the withdrawal of the Zhou family from Acropolis City's 4 major families. He even added that the Zhou family will never interfere in our affairs and will concentrate on taking care of their own family." Although Qin Huang had already learned the news from Qin Feng, this news became even more convincing after its authenticity was confirmed by Uncle Fu. Once again, Qin Huang was astounded. "Okay, I got it. Thank you for your hard work, Uncle Fu." Qin Huang nodded his head and Uncle Fu immediately left the room. After a short while, Qin Huang finally calmed down. His eyes gleamed and stared fixedly at Qin Feng. He was thrilled and felt proud of his son. "Who says my son is a dandy, a spendthrift, and a good-for-nothing punk? I dare you to come out now. This elder must kill you all." One hoped his son would become a dragon and his daughter would become a phoenix. Whose parents wouldn't care for their own offspring? Their child was the hope of their endeavors, the pillar of their spirit. Now that his son had grown up into an eagle who soared high in the sky, Qin Huang was very gratified. "Dad, please don't look at me like that. I'm not interested in men, especially an old man." Slap. Qin Huang swatted Qin Feng's head. After that, both father and son burst into laughter. Only through laughter, they could mask their tears. Acropolis City International Airport. Qin Feng remembered he'd come here not that long ago to send beautiful teacher Yun Xiao off to the provincial capital. Now he was standing in the waiting lounge again, sending the same alluring and youthful Rao Sherman off to the provincial capital. Among the group seeing Rao Sherman off were Su Ruoro, Han Ying, and Li Yuchun. Since Rao Sherman was boarding soon, Those three women stood aside and gave Qin Feng the last chance to bid her goodbye. Somewhere near the checkpoint, a man and a woman stood face to face, looking at each other. They were both handsome and pretty, and the sight of them drew the attention of all the passers-by. Rao Sherman in particular caught most of their eyes. She dressed fashionably trendy today. She had a big straw hat on her head and a pair of sunglasses on her face. For her outfit, she wore a pale blue dress with an exotic flower pattern and a pair of sexy and elegant black high heels on her feet. "I'm leaving, Qin Feng," said Rao Sherman as she took off her big sunglasses. A subtle hint of dismay could be seen in her eyes. "Remember to call me when you arrive at the provincial capital." Qin Feng smiled. "I didn't take a good care of you when you were in Acropolis City and allowed you to be distressed twice. I think Sherman won't set foot here again after you return to the provincial capital." Rao Sherman lowered her head slightly, not knowing what to say. She was afraid she might cry if she continued to speak. "Maybe this is our farewell." Qin Feng's voice was gloomy. "Sherman, can I hug you one more time?" Rao Sherman didn't talk. Instead, she inclined her body toward Qin Feng. Qin Feng then opened his arms and embraced Rao Sherman. The familiar scent, the soft and frail skin. "Goodbye, Qin Feng." Rao Sherman voluntarily withdrew herself from Qin Feng's arms and put on her sunglasses. As Qin Feng couldn't see her expression under the dark lenses, Rao Sherman with sunglasses suddenly felt like a stranger. Rao Sherman took her luggage, turned and walked away, farther and farther. Unable to restrain himself anymore, Qin Feng shouted the words hidden deep inside his heart. "Sherman, 8 years ago, that blazing hot day on September, beside Lotus Lake, that little boy gave a cash card to you." Rao Sherman was gone. Not even her back could be seen. Qin Feng couldn't tell whether his words reached Rao Sherman. At this moment, Su Ruoro and the other two beauties had walked up to Qin Feng's side. All of them gazed at Qin Feng with disdainful looks, baffling him. "Group leader Qin, what kind of story did you make up to swindle Lil Sherman?" Liu Chan stood with her arms crossed in front of her chest. She couldn't help but complain. Blazing hot day in September, beside Lotus Lake. "TSK, TSK, TSK. I never knew our group leader Qin was so well-versed in poetry. By the way, were you bathing in Lotus Lake at that time? Or were you peeking on a beauty bathing in Lotus Lake?" Su Ruoro and Han Ying were tickled by Liu Chen's words. They couldn't help themselves either and smiled charmingly behind their hands. Qin Feng realized Liu Chen had started bickering with him again. Just as he was going to fight back, he noticed this lass was sexy today. Before, she'd promised Qin Feng she would wear white stockings, and she really did sport a pair of white stockings today. Today, she wore a uniform that exposed her curvaceous body shape. Her pair of slender, long legs were straight like light poles, and the white stockings she had on were sexy and seductive to one's eyes. The sight of her just standing there quietly was enough to make people's hearts pumping fast. "Managerly, I wasn't making up a story. That was a real event that happened between Sherman and me, a secret that belongs to only the both of us." With a beaming smile, Qin Feng gazed at Liu Chen's beautiful legs and said, "I think Manager Li has never shared a secret with a guy in your entire life before, right? Haha, pathetic. You're so pathetic. Qin Feng, you're a filthy, stinking man." Qin Feng and Liu Chen bickered noisily in the airport, while Su Ruoro held Han Ying's arm and giggled behind. All of them went back to Royal Group by car after they came out of the airport. Since Han Ying took a few days' leave to visit to her hometown, she was occupied with work as soon as she returned. Su Ruoro, on the other hand, had her sales performance improve under Qin Feng's tutelage. In just half a month, she had already closed a few big sales. Qin Feng, as usual, played games in his office and occasionally teased Su Ruoro. Liu Chen summoned Qin Feng into her office from time to time, proactively bickering with him. "Qin Feng, you haven't closed any sales for this month yet. Do you want the company to sack you?" As soon as they came back from the airport, Liu Chen called Qin Feng into her office. Qin Feng stared fixedly, admiring her long legs sheathed in white stockings, seemingly ignoring her question. Liu Chen's face flushed when she noticed the focus of his attention. She hastily lowered her head, afraid Qin Feng would see her awkward condition. Managerly, has the cut on your thigh healed completely? As soon as Liu Chen lowered her head, she noticed that Qin Feng had already arrived by her side. This person came and went like a ghost, and it freaked Liu Chen out. If it's still not completely healed, how about I apply some powder to your wound? Qin Feng had lifted Liu Chen's leg without her permission. It was such a waste for Liu Chen not to be a leg model. Her legs were slender and long with not even the slightest extra fat to be seen. Her skin was as fair as snow, smooth and tender. Qin Feng could still felt the magnificence of her legs even though they were sheathed in white stockings. Qin Feng, let go of your mother's leg. Liu Chen realized Qin Feng had once again taken advantage of her. So, she yelled to halt his movements and hastily withdrew her thigh from Qin Feng's hands. Hey, let me tell you something. My mom called me a few days ago. She asked me about you. She asked when we're going to get married and have a baby. She's waiting for her grandson. Liu Chen suddenly switched topics, stunning Qin Feng. Managerly, why don't we make a baby now? Liu Chen's countenance changed drastically. Her face was blushing red. She suddenly said, "To then if you want me, you have to marry me." Hee hee. I was just joking with Manager Li. Qin Feng's grave expression faded, replaced by frivolity. Manager Li, last time I disguised as young Master Qin and went home with you only to help you escape Andy's desire to see you get married. What's after that is none of my business anymore. You know, I'm a very loyal and dedicated good man. I've got Ruoro, so I can't develop another relationship with Manager Li anymore. With a frosty glare, Liu Chen stared at Qin Feng and pouted. Is that so? Then what about Assistant Han, Lil, Sis Sherman, and those women who rolled in bed with you? You've forgotten them all? Ahem. Manager Li, I suddenly realized I still have a lot that needs to be done, so I'll excuse myself now. Qin Feng hastily ran out of Liu Chen's office. Liu Chen leaned back in her chair. Her breasts rose. She then let out a long, helpless sigh in sadness and frustration. As soon as Qin Feng arrived in his own office, his cell phone rang. Looking at the phone number, Qin Feng almost jumped with joy. Hey, Beauty Su Qiuyu, finally you're willing to call me. Chapter 316. Chapter 316. So they're beautiful sisters. Sky City's #1 noble beauty, Su Qiuyu. She was gentle and cultured, dignified and virtuous, and an outstanding beauty. When Qin Feng saw from the caller ID that it was Su Qiuyu calling, her exquisite features came to mind. The two of them had first met on Coiled Snake Mountain. At the time, Wei Xiaolei set up an illegal car race to harm Qin Feng, but not only had Qin Feng won the race, he also got rid of Wei Xiaolei and Williams. Before leaving, Su Qiuyu had taken the initiative to hug Qin Feng. In reality, she shoved a sprig of 100-year blood lotus into his arms. This was the main ingredient in cultivating blood qi pills. Qin Feng was in a rush to break through stage 4 inner qi, so he could cultivate a blood qi pill and awaken Lin Bei Bei. Is this Qin Feng? A woman's gentle voice came from the phone. It was neither pleasantly surprised nor cold. It's me. Is Beauty Su Qiuyu looking for me for something? Nervousness flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. He was worried that Su Qiuyu was calling about the 100-year blood lotus. If this was the case, should he give it to her or not? Young Master Qin, would you happen to have time to come visit the Su household in Sky City? Visit Sky City? I've had a lot of things on my hands recently. I'm afraid I'll have to invite young Master Qin to stay a couple of nights. I've prepared a room for you. If you aren't used to it, I can chat with you all through the night. Qin Feng hadn't finished speaking when Su Qiuyu's pleasant voice was heard. Hey, though I've had a lot of things on my plate and work is busy, since Miss Su Qiuyu is so sincere, I couldn't possibly refuse. Give me a sec, Miss Su. I'll drive over right now. Thank you for giving this humble girl face, young Master Qin. Then I'll wait for you at the Su family mansion. Su Qiuyu hung up, and a hint of anxiety appeared in her lovely features. On Coiled Snake Mountain, Su Qiuyu had seen Qin Feng's skill and ability, so she took the risk of giving Qin Feng the Su family's most valuable treasure, the 100-year blood lotus. However, after the fact, Su Qiuyu researched Qin Feng. It turned out that he was Acropolis City's super hedonistic young master. Once she thought of Qin Feng's vulgar behavior over the phone, Su Qiuyu shook her head and sighed. I really don't know if I've chosen the right person, or if I've made a mistake. Qin Feng now rode his 28 bicycle and set off for Sky City. Acropolis and Sky City were over 200 kilometers apart. If a normal person were to bike from one place to the other, they probably wouldn't get there until the middle of the night. However, Qin Feng rode at a speed even faster than cars, and he entered Sky City limits in a little less than 2 hours. Yun Province had 4 big cities. Acropolis City, Jincheng City, and Sky City were surrounded on 3 sides by mountains, while Yunhai City faced the ocean. All the denizens of Sky City knew that Sky City had a powerful family clan, the Su family. And even more famous were the beautiful twin sisters. One was Sky City's #1 noble beauty, Su Qiuyu. The other was Sky City's #1 she-devil, Su Xiatian. The 2 sisters were twins. If they stood together and said nothing, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. However, the 2 of them had vastly different personalities. The older sister was dignified and virtuous, gentle and cultured, familiar with the 4 books and 5 classics, and proficient in the 4 arts of the zither, go, calligraphy, and painting. She was entirely worthy of her title, Sky City's most talented woman. The younger sister was an oddball. She was a mischievous troublemaker. Typically, the younger sister caused trouble in Sky City, and the older sister arrived and resolved the problems. The 2 sisters were outstanding beauties with slender figures. All the princes of Sky City had their eyes on the 2 sisters, but they worried because the Su family was so powerful in Sky City. These princes were well-versed in business, so they could only admire the 2 sisters from afar. They didn't dare do anything excessive to them. After arriving in Sky City, Qin Feng got the Su mansion address by asking several people on the roadsides. These people all knew its location, but they sneered at Qin Feng when they saw the broken-down 28 bicycle he rode while inquiring about the Su family mansion. In fact, a well-intentioned granny directly told Qin Feng that the Su family wasn't short on servants or guards. Qin Feng disregarded the ignorance of these lowly people. Not everyone could become a super hedonistic young master. On the path to becoming the hedonist sovereign, Qin Feng was different from the masses. When he got to the Su family mansion, Qin Feng parked his 28 bicycle by the door. He raised his head slightly to look at the enormous red brick mansion. 4 large, gleaming gold characters were engraved into the mansion entrance. Su family old mansion. This district was extremely expansive. The mansion grounds spread over such a large tract of land that it was an iconic landmark in Sky City. Quite a few tourists purposely came from far away to see the ancient Su family mansion in Sky City. However, other than the Su family, no one could casually enter the mansion. Qin Feng had just dismounted from his 28 bike and pushed it toward the mansion's courtyard. When he got to the entrance, someone blocked him. Hey, you stinking beggar. This is the Su family mansion. If you're looking for food, go elsewhere. After seeing the woman who was blocking him, Qin Feng's eyes brightened. He tossed his 28 bicycle aside, excitedly rushed up to the woman, and wrapped her into a tight hug. Beauty Su Qiuyu, long time no see. I've missed you. Su Xiatian never thought she'd ever be hugged by a strange man at her doorstep. Has this person eaten bear heart and leopard gall to be so gutsy? Or is he coming to the Su family with a death wish? How dare he hug her? This was her first hug. In the middle of the night, she imagined countless times that she would save her first hug for a handsome and godlike man like Daniel Wu or an imposing muscle man like Jason Statham. How could she have given it to some man pushing a broken-down bicycle? Su Xiatian was infuriated. She was so angry that she wanted to bite the stinking man before her to death. Ah, fuck off right now. Get your grubby paws off me. I'm going to kill you. Su Xiatian roared in anger, scaring even Qin Feng. Qin Feng pushed Su Xiatian away, then looked at her in confusion. Was this the goddess Qiuyu that he'd yearned for day and night? Was this still the cultured and refined #1 noble beauty Su Qiuyu who always spoke with a polite smile and 2 little dimples? Who are you? Qin Feng looked at Su Xiatian with alarm and appeared as though he'd seen a ghost. We haven't seen each other for only a month, so why does this woman seem completely different? Ah, you stinking man. Damn man. You hugged me and you're asking who I am? You're in Sky City and you don't know me? Do you really want to die? Su Xiatian was even angrier than when Qin Feng hugged her. Her nickname, Sky City's #1 she-devil, was notorious throughout the city. No man between toddler age and 99 didn't know Su Xiatian, but this stinking man didn't? This was an insult to Su Xiatian. I might know you, but you don't have this kind of personality? Aren't you dignified, virtuous, noble, and refined? Are you Su Qiuyu or not? You just called me and told me to come find you. Qin Feng was brimming with questions. Su Xiatian finally calmed down a bit. So this stinking man was looking for Big Sister. Before leaving, she had mentioned that a very important guest was coming over and told her to keep her temper in check. She never imagined this important guest would be the vulgar man before her. Why are you looking for my older sister? You pervert. If you hug my big sister once you see her, I'll thrash you. Su Xiatian glared domineeringly at Qin Feng with the air of a high and mighty heiress. Qin Feng's brain went dead. Older sister? This girl had an older sister. Fuck. Were they beautiful twin sisters? Qin Feng suddenly was so happy that he wanted to shout out loud. The Hedonist sovereign system had a quest regarding Su Qiuyu, to take down the Sky City Su family's business. The quickest and most direct way to take down the Su family business was to take down the Su family's women. Qin Feng was originally prepared to take the beauty Su Qiuyu, and now it seemed that incidentally there was a look-alike sister. When Qin Feng thought about the beautiful twin sisters, one gentle and cultured and one with an explosive temper, Qin Feng was afraid he'd find it hard to manage when they all lived together. Haha, so you're Miss Qiuyu's younger sister. Little sister, what is your name? Tell this big brother. Qin Feng looked at Su Xiatian with a smile. He really liked this woman's personality. You piece of trash, put your vulgar gaze away. If you keep looking at me like that, I'll gouge your eyeballs out. You haven't even heard my name. I'm Sky City's #1 she-devil, Su Xiatian. Su Xiatian was always particularly proud when she introduced herself because she'd always dreamed of being China's #1 she-devil. So your little sister Xiatian. Qin Feng smiled and walked closer to Su Xiatian. Other men did what they could to hide from this she-devil, but Qin Feng was the opposite. He took the initiative to take Su Xiatian's soft hand. You must not know that your older sister and I have a great relationship. She purposely called me over to visit and insisted I stay several nights. She even said she wanted to chat with me throughout the night. Little sister Xiatian, from now on, we're family. My name is Qin Feng. You can call me dearest, husband, or whatever you'd like. Ah, pervert, beast, human trash. Let go of my hand, bastard. Who wants to call you dearest? And you want me to call you husband? Poo, hurry up and die. Qin Feng made Su Qiuyu so angry that she wanted to spit blood. She had lived for so long, yet no man had ever hugged or touched her like that before. As a result, the person she currently hated the most had hugged her and held her hand. She was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. However, Su Qiuyu found that this man's hands were quite strong. No matter how much she wanted to escape his grasp, she couldn't. Also, he could react very quickly. She wanted to kick him, but after tens of kicks, none of them touched Qin Feng. Little sister Xiatian, I know it's our first time meeting, so it must be hard to suppress your excitement at how handsome, distinguished, and elegant I am. But we still have a lot of time to get to know each other during the day, and we'll have lots of time to sleep together at night. Don't collapse from overexcitement. Qin Feng smiled shamelessly at Su Xiatian. This girl was too cute when she was mad. Chapter 317. Chapter 317, Confrontation of the She-Devil and the Hedonist Young Master. Su Xiatian received 20,000 points damage to her heart. She'd always thought she was the #1 she-devil in Sky City, the earliest ancestress of unreasonability, ruthless and vandalistic. However, she seemed to have encountered her nemesis today. She was almost enraged to death by Qin Feng as soon as she saw him. Scumbag, rascal, release me right away. I'll call the guards to get rid of you if you don't let go now. Su Xiatian started to threaten Qin Feng. Qin Feng was rather unaffected. Instead, his smile grew even broader. Little wife Xiatian, your good hubby came in too much of a hurry and didn't bring any gift for you. Let me give you a sweet kiss first. I think little wife would like it very much. Qin Feng had brought his face close to Su Xiatian's exquisite one as he talked. Su Xiatian was so frightened that she sprang up. She covered her mouth with her tiny hand and opened her eyes as big as saucers, staring at Qin Feng. Her eyes were emanating a cold, murderous intent as if she was saying, if you dare kiss your mother now, I'll bite your tongue off. Chump! Qin Feng kissed her, ignoring her fiendish look. However, he didn't kiss Su Xiatian's sexy cherry lips but her tender hand. Su Xiatian's body had a fruity fragrance. Paired with her lively and cheerful personality, Qin Feng felt this lass was a little girl who hadn't grown up. Wawa, why you son of a bai? You're so dead today. I'm going to tell my sister now and ask her to kick your ass. Su Xiatian was devastated. This scumbag hugged me, pulled and kissed my hand. Arg, my hand. I want to chop off my hand. Little wife Xiatian wants to file a complaint? Let me tag along then. Your big sister, Qiu, is my eldest wife. On second thought, she might stand on my side to give you a lesson. Qin Feng talked as he dragged Su Xiatian into the Su family mansion. Su Xiatian stopped abruptly. Qin Feng was right. He was her sister's most important guest, and her sister knew her personality so well. She certainly wouldn't blame Qin Feng. Perhaps she might even lecture her. This young miss doesn't wish to go home right now. I'm going out. Do you want to come with me? Su Xiatian gazed carefully at Qin Feng. It's my greatest pleasure to walk the streets with little wife. Qin Feng followed her. Scumbag, don't ever call me little wife again. I'll beat you to death. Su Xiatian stormed to a flashy Mercedes-Benz SKL red sports car parked outside the mansion. Qin Feng followed her into the car. Okay, fine. I won't call you little wife ever again if you don't wish to hear that. Ignoring Su Xiatian's cute, infuriated expression, Qin Feng touched the car interior and exclaimed, Little wife, you're so rich. This car must be very expensive. I'm so excited when I think you're going to be my sugar mommy. It's such a shame for a macho man like you to be willing to be somebody's kept man. Su Xiatian countered Qin Feng as she waved her pink little fist triumphantly at him. It'll be my greatest honor to be kept by a little beauty like Xiatian. Qin Feng looked at Su Xiatian with a smile, totally unaffected by her mockery. I'm tired of talking to you. Buckle up and hold on tight, and don't scream like a woman later. Su Xiatian stomped on the accelerator with her high heels. The car suddenly darted off like a roaring beast. Su Xiatian's eyes gleamed with subtle mirth. How could she be willing to bring Qin Feng along with her? She was attending a party organized by the Four Talents of Sky City, a party that only those young masters and misses who came from wealthy families could attend. A country bumpkin like Qin Feng would be blocked by guards before he could enter the venue. Su Xiatian was eyeing to see the sight of Qin Feng being ridiculed by the guard and despised by everybody in the club. As she giggled, Su Xiatian suddenly felt a warm sensation spreading from her thigh. When she saw a filthy hand on her thigh, she yelled, Ah, what are you doing, Qin Feng? Keep your grubby paws off this mother's thigh. This Qin Feng was bold. No one had ever dared to act vulgar in front of Su Xiatian since she was born. Please drive nicely, little wife. You almost rammed the car into a tree just now. Do you know how to drive a car? Please don't tell me that you don't have a driving license. I'll have you know, your little hubby's life is very precious. Please don't ever kill me in a car crash. Qin Feng looked at Su Xiatian nervously, but he didn't even move his hand an inch from her thigh. Scumbag! I got my license when I was 18 years old, and I've driven for 5 years. My driving skill is #1 among women in Sky City. If it weren't for you, how could I possibly drive the car off the road? Get your filthy hand off me right now, you rascal. Su Xiatian deliberately drove at top speed because she thought Qin Feng had never been in a sports car before. So, she wanted to see Qin Feng scream and whimper like a little girl. However, Qin Feng wasn't afraid at all. In fact, he even got fresh with Su Xiatian. She was so infuriated that she screamed non-stop along the trip. Screech. The car arrived at First Clubhouse at last. In order to vent her feelings, Su Xiatian performed a cool tail-flicked parking trick. Indeed, her driving skill was excellent. She drifted 360 degrees and parked perfectly in the middle of 2 parking spaces. Get off my car now, scumbag. Later, you go into the club on your own. Starting from now, we're strangers. No, what it should be is, I've never known you, asshole. Su Xiatian furiously pushed Qin Feng out the car. After she shut the door, she started to change her clothes. Before, she wore a conservative black tracksuit. Now, she tore off the tracksuit, revealing the alluring brace's skirt inside. The brace's skirt was a miniskirt, exposing her white as snow, slender legs to the air after she removed her sports pants. Paired with crystal high heels on her feet, Su Xiatian really didn't fail her title as the #1 she-devil in Sky City. She was sexy and energetic. Qin Feng arrived at the First Clubhouse's entrance after he alighted from the car. He was halted by the guard before he could enter the building. Please show us your member card, mister. As a hedonist young master himself, of course Qin Feng knew entering a private high-end club like this required a member card. He also knew Su Xiatian intentionally brought him here to get her revenge. Please wait for a moment, brother. My lady is on her way. I'm her personal bodyguard, tasked with protecting the lady. I'll go in with Miss Su later on. After Qin Feng replied to the guard with a smile, he then stood aside with a calm expression, waiting for Su Xiatian. Very soon, a sexy and stylish little beauty walked over on happy feet. Sunlight fell on her body, forming a layer of golden light around her, making the stunning Su Xiatian even more dazzling and brilliant. All the passers-by couldn't restrain themselves and fixed their sights on her. However, Su Xiatian ignored these people. She was looking gleefully at Qin Feng, who stood outside the club and couldn't get in. Su Xiatian was so excited she wanted to shout, "Karma! This is karma! Who asked you to have the guts to infuriate this young miss, you little brat? Do you think the title of #1 she-devil was just all hype? Just see how I'm going to punish you today." Miss Su, you've come. Please get inside now. Qin Feng walked forward as soon as Su Xiatian arrived. Su Xiatian had to mask her happy-as-lark feeling with a cold and indifferent demeanor. She didn't even give Qin Feng a glance. She just walked directly into the building. She'd said she'd pretend not to know Qin Feng after they alighted from the car. She didn't want to walk together with a rascal like him. It'd be shameful if her friends and those suitors knew she was acquainted with Qin Feng. Welcome, Miss Su. All the guards knew Su Xiatian. She wasn't required to show her member card as her face was practically a diamond card. Qin Feng trailed her leisurely after he saw Su Xiatian walk inside. You guys have worked hard, brothers. Since we are all on the same boat, I understand you too. With a beaming smile, Qin Feng patted the shoulders of those 2 guards. Neither of them stopped Qin Feng this time. They even hailed him with a smile. Our job is nothing compared to big brothers. You're tasked with taking care of the young miss from the Su family. You're our senior, our role model. It's our fault for not recognizing you earlier. Please don't be angry. It's okay. It's okay. I should get going to protect my lady. Bye. Be at ease. Su Xiatian wanted to see a ridiculed Qin Feng, so she didn't walk farther into the building. Instead, she deliberately sat on a couch in the parlor. However, she only saw Qin Feng chit-chatting happily with the 2 guards, and they were polite to him. The degree of their enthusiasm was like they were seeing her. This enraged Su Xiatian greatly. She was so angry that she almost asked this club's manager to fire both guards. Why didn't you wait for me, little wife? Qin Feng had already reached her side and was looking at her with a grin. Su Xiatian was so startled she almost jumped. She was okay when Qin Feng addressed her as little wife if there was no one around. But now, they were inside the Cardinal Club, a place where the people from Sky City's upper crust gathered, who there didn't know who she was. She'd rather die than let others hear this appellation. She was just 23 years old, as beautiful as a flower, and her suitors could be lined up from the south gate to the north gate of the city. How could she suddenly become somebody's wife? Moreover, she was a second wife. Stop this nonsense, Qin Feng. I'll tell you now, we're strangers from here on. If not, I'll ask the manager of this club to kick you out. Su Xiatian glared at Qin Feng. She wanted to slice his tongue off. Okay, fine. Since little sister Xiatian doesn't know how to admire my handsomeness, I should go to flirt with other beauties then. Don't you be jealous later. Qin Feng countered with a grin. Who was he? He was the #1 seducer in Acropolis City. Since he was in Sky City now, Qin Feng felt he might as well become the #1 seducer in Sky City. In your dreams. Get lost now. Just looking at you makes me want to puke. You're penniless and you want to hook up with a beauty in this club? Ha! You're such a fool. You tickled your mother so much that my canines almost fell out. Su Xiatian sneered at Qin Feng, as if she heard a big joke. After that, she stood up and walked into the club, too lazy to say even one more word to Qin Feng. Chapter 318. Chapter 318, Sky City's 4 Talents. In the first clubhouse's men's restroom, for men with unordinary auras dressed brightly and neatly were gathered with their heads and voices lowered as if in discussion. The tall and strong Li Yang wearing a purple suit suddenly spoke. Su Xiatian is here. The expressions of the remaining 3 men shifted slightly. When Su, a man with dyed blonde hair and a sky blue suit, said, "The girl really is here. We can implement our plans for today." As for the other 2 men, one was Jiang Manhong, who wore a white suit and looked tall, fair, and handsome like a prince. The other was Zhao Yusheng, who had the air of a scholar. He wore a gray robe and held a wooden folding fan. These 4 were Sky City's famous 4 talents. Li Yang, did you see whether or not Su Xiatian came alone? Asked Jiang Manhong. Li Yang nodded. Yup, alone. She's talking to some women in the clubhouse. Once the 4 men heard that Su Xiatian had come alone, knowing smiles filled their faces. Then, according to the plan, let Talent Jiang play Su Xiatian a song first and bring her into our circle. Then, Li Yang, use your perfect body to attract her. At the same time, I'll write her something in calligraphy. Lastly, when Su will give her a good cocktail, and our plan will be mostly complete. Zhao Yusheng reconfirmed everyone's tasks. Each of the 4 talents had their own skills, and they were going to use their specialties to entice Su Xiatian and lure her into their clues. When Su, put more of the drug in the drink. We 4 brothers have to take her tonight. Don't make it so that the drug wears off after the first person is done. Don't worry, I specifically got this strong medicine from Africa, so this girl will be in a drunken stupor tonight. The blonde when Su revealed a vulgar smile. The drug shouldn't be too strong, though. If the woman is messed up, then we won't be able to take her and we'll face the consequences. Zhao Yusheng's face darkened slightly. Our plan is already dangerous to begin with. The Su family is Sky City's most powerful family, and the Su elder loves the pair of beautiful sisters the most. Otherwise, with such quality good looks and figure, who knows how many rich young masters would have played with Su Xiatian already? This pair of sisters are still virgins because no one dares to provoke the Su family. We'll record footage of tonight as backup to threaten Su Xiatian with exposure of what happens. With the video, I think this girl won't reveal the situation to preserve face. But if this girl dies halfway when we're playing with her, then it'll be trouble. The 4 men present were all sons of major families in Sky City, so they were clear on the seriousness of Zhao Yusheng's warning. 3 sets of eyes fell on Wen Su. Don't worry, though the drug is potent, it's made from natural plants. It won't harm the body or leave any residual effects. Otherwise, I would have just bought a box of drugs in Sky City, and there wouldn't have been a need to purposely find someone in Africa to send the goods over. Wen Su made a solemn vow, and the other 3 men's nervous expressions were eased. The 4 of them exchanged glances, and vulgar smiles reappeared on their faces. Once they thought of how they could do Sky City's #1 she-devil, Susia Tion, they were so excited that they wanted to shout aloud. Happy collaborating. The four of them fist-bumped one another with excitement. Happy collaborating. Then, an unfamiliar voice was heard, scaring the four talents and turning their legs to jelly. They immediately looked toward the restroom doorway to see a tall, strong, and handsome man standing there. None of the four men recognized him. Brothers, what are you chatting about in the restroom? If you're collaborating, count me in. Qin Feng smiled and walked up to the four men. At the same time, he stopped recording on his phone and slipped it into his pants pocket. Who the fuck are you? How did you get in here? Where are the guards? Where are the guards that I stationed at the door? The four talents stared at Qin Feng in alarm. They had placed 2 bodyguards at the entrance to prevent anyone else from entering the restroom because they had very important things to discuss. However, Qin Feng now walked in nonchalantly. This defied the four talents' understanding. Their hearts were in turmoil, and they were so pale that they were about to break into a cold sweat. They were all very worried. This guy wouldn't have happened to have heard their plan, would he? Guards? You mean those 2 guys lying asleep by the entrance? Qin Feng walked in, pulled down his zipper, and began to urinate. So those 2 are your guards. You guys are dressed so lavishly. How could you have found guys like that to be guards? They fell asleep at the doorway to the restroom. Say, how did they fall asleep? Qin Feng appeared as though he cared nothing of the four talents, and he urinated while whistling. The four talents weighed Qin Feng's back with a fierce frigidity. Then, they all nodded in unison and stalked toward Qin Feng. Regardless of whether or not this brat heard their plan, the four talents were going to knock him unconscious, strip him bare, and toss him into the clubhouse. Stinking brat, drink piss. The muscular Li Yang was the first to rush up, while the remaining 3 talents followed. Li Yang had just uttered half of his insult when he suddenly stopped. Qin Feng had turned and shot a stream of warm yellow liquid at Li Yang, wetting his entire head. Li Yang went from being a handsome, high-spirited guy to a drowned dog stuck in a sticky situation. You called me? Qin Feng turned and looked at Yang Su in astonishment. He even intentionally shook his ass to spray the other 3 as well. Fuck, turn back around. No one called you. Just keep pissing. Fuck, don't move around. You've gotten it all over me. The restroom was instantly filled with the cries and complaints of the four talents. The four talents had rushed over violently to beat up Qin Feng, and they were all covered in urine. They wanted to die. They shouted stupidly for a good while before running over to the sinks, where they began to rinse their clothes and heads. Qin Feng finished urinating, pulled up his pants, and left while whistling. When he passed the sinks, he looked at the 4 men. Huh, did you come into the restroom to shower? This isn't a public bath. Did you guys walk into the wrong place? The expressions of the 4 men darkened, so angered by Qin Feng that they almost spat blood. After washing his hands, Qin Feng used water to style his hair handsomely. He then went to the ballroom of the clubhouse, where lots of men and women were gathered. The men were all clad in tuxedos, ties, and black dress shoes. They put on gentlemanly fronts and flirted with the pretty ladies. The women were all dressed splendidly. They either wore long dresses or qipao of the see-through style. They held glasses of red wine, wore heavy makeup, and chatted about bags and brand name ways worth tens or hundreds of thousands. This was a social gathering for the upper class. Qin Feng remembered the last time he participated in a similar gathering for the rich and powerful. That was when Han Yinging first came to Acropolis. It felt like a lifetime ago now that he stood in a ballroom again. Handsome, could I have a drink with you? Qin Feng was tall and handsome with an impressive appearance. Once he stepped into the ballroom, a very beautiful woman walked over. Qin Feng took a glass of red wine from the tray a passing waiter held and replied, "That would be my pleasure." Clink. The 2 of them clinked their glasses. Qin Feng drank the whole glass of wine in one gulp, while the beauty took a small sip. She saw that Qin Feng was a new face, and she wanted to check his background. Who knew if this was the only son of a hidden rich family? Then she'd be in luck. However, when she saw Qin Feng's lowly and rough manner in drinking wine, disappointment and disdain flashed in the beauty's eyes. Beauty, why are you bored after one sip? You should drink the wine in one shot if we're to have a good relationship. Are you not giving this big brother any face? Qin Feng shouted, then wiped his mouth with the back of his hand while looking at the beauty. You're crazy. The beauty glared at Qin Feng, swayed her hips, and walked slowly away. Qin Feng weighed the back of the retreating beauty and smiled slightly. He naturally knew the woman's motive. However, Qin Feng now felt nothing for women like her, so it was wasteful to spend another word on her. Qin Feng looked around and quickly found Su Xiatian surrounded by a group of people. In a gathering for the rich such as this one, a person's social standing could be determined by the number of people surrounding them. In the entire ballroom, Su Xiatian was surrounded by the most people. The first circle was composed of beautiful women, and men only dared to stand in the second circle. This clearly showed that this she-devil was a dominant and powerful young heiress. When Qin Feng looked over, Su Xiatian happened to look in his direction as well, and their eyes met. Qin Feng smiled vulgarly, while Su Xiatian bit her lip and glared at Qin Feng. She was afraid Qin Feng would suddenly rush up and greet her. That would be so embarrassing. Su Xiatian soon found that her worries were for naught. Though this Qin Feng was shameless and perverted, he kept his word. They previously agreed that they would pretend not to know each other in the clubhouse, so the guy really only glanced at her, then turned and walked in the opposite direction. However, Su Xiatian's lips had just curved up into a smile when they completely froze. A man's robust voice echoed in the ballroom, instantly attracting everyone's attention. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I'm going to dedicate a piano piece to the most beautiful and youthful Miss Su Xiatian. I hope you'll like it. Qin Feng sat at the piano in the center of the clubhouse. The soft lighting fell on his body. He wore a well-ironed black suit. Today, he wasn't a prince on a white horse, but a dark knight that saves the princess. Qin Feng's hands came down before Su Xiatian could refuse. His hands were fair and long. Many women saw them and were ashamed. His 10 fingers came to life. They nimbly and elegantly danced across the black and white keys. Qin Feng had elementary piano skills. His playing was so good that he'd surprised Zhao Lingxian, who was an art student majoring in music. It had also won over the famous celebrity Rao Sherman. Once the elegant piano piece was played, it lingered in the audience's heads and hearts. The noisy and bustling scene immediately quieted, leaving only expressions of content and avid listening. This was the first time Qin Feng played and heard this piano piece, but it seemed as though he had practiced it hundreds or thousands of times. This was the mysteriousness of the elementary piano skills. Qin Feng felt that the hedonist sovereign system could be renamed to the acting pretentious system. Sky City's 4 talents are here. A startled gasp suddenly came from the audience. The handsome men and beautiful women who were immersed in Qin Feng's piano playing regained their senses and looked toward the entrance of the ballroom. Chapter 319. Chapter 319, Courting Envy. Qin Feng looked over in curiosity. He was one of the 4 princes in Acropolis City and the top-ranked playboy. He never expected Sky City had a F4 group as well. They even called themselves the 4 talents of Sky City. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth quirked vigorously when he heard their title. These people are even more shameless than I am. So they are the so-called 4 talents? TSK, 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 that really disappoints me. Qin Feng's gaze fell on the 4 talents. When he saw their appearance, Qin Feng's smile grew even broader. Sky City's 4 talents were those 4 bad guys whom Qin Feng had met in the restroom. They were plotting to do something to Su Xiatian. These 4 fellows got splashed from top to bottom by Qin Feng not long ago. But now, they showed up in tuxedos and leather shoes. Li Yong, in particular, who had been the first to rush up and get his head drenched by Qin Feng in the restroom, had washed and restyled his hair already. The 4 talents walked in formation with a 50 centimeters spacing between each of them. All of them strided with their heads high and chests puffed out. Their expressions were either cold and prideful or smiling gentlemanly. They were nothing like that bunch of pitiful people in restroom before. Wow, the 4 talents are here. They're so handsome. This person likes the fitness prince the most. He's so hot in a tuxedo. Only his strong physical build could do justice to a tuxedo. I like Jiang Manhong. His piano playing is outstanding. I like when Su, then. His appearance when making a cocktail is so cool. Zhao Yusheng's great as well. His proficiency in calligraphy is almost as great as those masters. Sky City's 4 talents represented the younger generation of 4 big families in Sky City. Their family backgrounds might not be top-no when the foursome was considered individually. It was only because the 4 of them had formed a group, and at the same time the families backing them collaborated each other, that they could become well-known in Sky City, almost as famous as the #1 noble beauty Su Qiu and the #1 she-devil Su Xiatian. These 4 guys were tall and handsome. Moreover, each of them had their own specialties and different personalities. Their entrance had caused the beauties to scream with joy. Several beauties had already encircled them and welcomed their arrival before they could enter the ballroom. For talents had looked at Su Xiatian as soon as they entered the ballroom. The 4 of them then approached her after they ascertained that there were no bodyguards near her. It has been a long time, Miss Su Xiatian. You're getting more and more beautiful. For talents hailed Su Xiatian casually and sat beside her. On the other hand, Su Xiatian wasn't that enthusiastic. She just glanced at the 4 indifferently in reply. Allow me to play you a wonderful piano piece to show my admiration and respect for you, Miss Su. Jiang Manhong got to his feet and gazed fondly at Su Xiatian. He was renowned as the Prince of Piano. He was the most handsome among the 4, cultured and refined, and good at the piano. Wow! His request caused a commotion among the beauties. It was such a wonderful experience for a woman to have Jiang Manhong personally perform a piano piece. These women eagerly wished he would perform something just for themselves. Su Xiatian suddenly looked at Jiang Manhong. You want to play the piano for me? As she talked, she cast a faint smile at Jiang Manhong, startling him. This was the first time this woman smiled at him since he'd known her. However, those who knew Su Xiatian knew that you had to wah out when this she-devil smiled at you. This was because she was planning to prank you. Of course, it's my greatest honor to play a piano piece for Miss Su. Jiang Manhong agreed after he pondered for a while. This was the first step of their plan, to acquire Su Xiatian's favor through his piano performance. How could the plan fail at his hands? However, a man performed a piece for me earlier on, and he did well. Su Xiatian's smile became more intense. She then added, I advise you not to make a fool of yourself if your piano skills aren't as great as his. Jiang Manhong's countenance sank. He was reputed for his piano skills among the 4. How could he tolerate another man stealing his thunder? Where is the man Miss Su mentioned just now? This talent would like meet him in person and see where that little brat comes from. Su Xiatian was happy when she saw the infuriated Jiang Manhong. She would normally give the 4 talents the cold shoulder. This was because she thought these 4 fellows were too childish and pretentious. She deliberately agreed to Jiang Manhong's suggestion to play her a piano piece today because she wanted to put Qin Feng in a sticky situation. Su Xiatian's mind was occupied by Qin Feng today. She was almost enraged to death by Qin Feng, and she intended to vent her fury by punishing him. There. That guy sitting at the piano. I felt he was so handsome when he was playing it. Su Xiatian gazed at Qin Feng like an infatuated girl. Jiang Manhong sent Qin Feng a fiendish look. There is no one in this Sky City who could play piano better than. Jiang Manhong was dumbstruck before he could finish his words. He almost ran away instinctively the moment he saw Qin Feng. Isn't this the bastard who urinated on everyone in the restroom? However, he calmed down right away. First, this place was Sky City, his territory. Second, he was the most successful man among the younger generation in Sky City, and one of the members of Sky City's 4 talents. How could he be afraid of some nameless little brat? You just sit here and wah, Princess Xiatian. I'll certainly play a masterpiece and crush his ego. Jiang Manhong vowed solemnly to Su Xiatian. I'm looking forward to your show, Talent Jiang. Su Xiatian winked mischievously at Jiang Manhong. Jiang Manhong staggered when Su Xiatian smiled at him. Su Xiatian smiled at me? She even winked at me. Does this mean she's fallen in love with me? Zhang Manhong suddenly felt full of energy. Even without Su Xiatian, he'd already planned to get his revenge on Qin Feng. This fellow dared to pee on the four of them, a feat which no other man in Sky City would dare to do. Not even Su Qiuyu or Su Xiatian. Of course, the four talents were willing to be peed on by both of them. Move away, brat. Zhang Manhong arrived at Qin Feng's side as everybody looked on. Hey, were you guys done bathing so soon? Qin Feng refused to stand up. Instead, he smiled at Zhang Manhong. People from the city really know how to enjoy life. Bodyguards sleeping outside restrooms and their masters bathing inside it. Don't tell me you guys even pee and poop in the shower room. Qin Feng's words raised a hubbub among the audience. They were not jeering at Zhang Manhong but angered by Qin Feng's vulgar and confusing words. In their perspective, these words were a pain in the ears, and one shouldn't simply speak such indelicate words at a high-class gathering like this. None of them could restrain themselves, casting disdainful looks at Qin Feng. The awkwardness inside Zhang Manhong's heart faded after he noticed the reaction of the crowd. With a scornful look, he yelled, I can't fathom why the first clubhouse allowed a peasant worker like you to enter. A rat's dropping can spoil a whole pot of soup. The level of this ballroom has been pulled down by your intolerably vulgar attitude. It was obvious that Zhang Manhong was targeting Qin Feng, and the onlookers naturally would side with Zhang Manhong. All of them started gesticulating at Qin Feng and belittling him. Amused by this scene, Su Xiatian smiled. Her big eyes narrowed into two small crescent moons, and tears almost fell from her eyes. However, Qin Feng retained his composure, seemingly ignoring their discussion. He then looked indifferently at Zhang Manhong and said, Are you looking down on peasant workers? After that, he glanced at the crowd with a serious demeanor. All of you, are you looking down on peasant workers? Qin Feng's voice wasn't loud, but he spoke with inner qi, so his words fell clearly and loudly in the ears of everyone in the ballroom. His voice was sonorous and forceful, full of vigor. How dare all of you look down on peasant workers? Do you think you're better than them? This clubhouse provided a platform for all of you to play, to act pretentious, to hook up for one-night stands, and to flaunt your wealth. But who built this clubhouse? It was built by those peasant workers, piece by piece, day after day. They earned their pay with their own hands and worked tirelessly for day and night. You guys are human, are you not? Did you all ever earn a single penny with your own hands? Never. All of you just get money from your parents. You all are a bunch of spendthrifts, hypocrites. You're all over 20 yet you've achieved nothing. Do you guys still think you're superior to those peasant workers? The way I see it, you're all the scum of the world, a horde of gluttonous, blood-sucking maggots. What's good about you if the noble status of yours were taken away? Let me tell you guys, this elder hates hedonist young masters the most. Why hasn't lightning struck? Qin Feng halted abruptly before he could finish his speech. He suddenly realized he was a hedonist young master himself. The originally lively clubhouse fell silent. Only a couple of angry and fiendish expressions could be seen, and the sound of panting could be heard. All of them were a bunch of good-for-nothing young masters and misses who led hedonistic and dissolute lives for more than a decade. They wouldn't felt ashamed and shed tears simply because of Qin Feng's words. They'd only hate him more. What right and position did a bratty little nobody like him have to lecture them? Su Xiatian's pupils constricted as she looked fixedly at Qin Feng. He wasn't the usually vulgar and frivolous Qin Feng. He seemed to have a golden halo surrounding his body, and his aura was so intense that people couldn't breathe. You're such a glib talker, but you're no better than us either. Also, please don't twist the meaning of what I just said. I definitely don't despise any profession. I just think you shouldn't appear in a place like this. Your very existence at here is a disgrace to everybody, and you even insulted yourself. Zhang Manhong glared icily at Qin Feng. I don't feel any discomfort here. There are so many beauties for me to admire. Even the number one she-devil of Sky City is here. I like this place very much. Qin Feng shrugged his shoulders. Chapter 320. Chapter 320. The four talents are pitiful. Teaser. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with a person with a background like yours. Hurry and fuck off. I want to play a piano piece for Miss Sue. Jiang Manhong felt that he couldn't beat Qin Feng verbally, so he was going to suppress him by playing the piano. He hadn't heard Qin Feng's performance, but seeing how unpresentable Qin Feng looked, Jiang Manhong didn't even take Qin Feng into any sort of consideration. He was certain this person just casually learned to play a couple of songs to pick up girls. Jiang Manhong achieved level 6 in the nationally recognized piano standard. How could a noob like Qin Feng compare to him? Then play a song. Talent, Jiang. Good thing I'm here. I can give you some pointers. Qin Feng stood. Jiang Manhong was about to sit down, but when he heard Qin Feng's words, he almost stumbled and fell. This brat was too fucking savage. No, this brat's skin was too fucking thick. Jiang Manhong quickly composed himself. He had an important plan to execute today, and it couldn't be messed up by this lunatic Qin Feng. He wore a white suit, and even his dress shoes and belt were white. He looked like Prince Charming on a white horse as he sat at the piano with the soft light shining on his handsome face. Before he even began to play, a sea of gasps arose from all around. Jiang Manhong revealed a gentlemanly smile and basked in the feeling of being the center of attention. He slowly lifted his arms, quickly set them on the black and white keys, and began to play dexterously. This was a well-known piece, the piano version of Castle in the Sky. The melody rose and fell, unconstrained. It contained a slightly melancholic rhythm, quickly quieting the audience and made them listen attentively. After the song was over, many people clapped. Many of the heiresses present were expert pianists. They could tell that Qin Feng's world-famous piece was much more difficult than Jiang Manhong's Castle in the Sky. Also, Qin Feng's fingers were much more nimble, and his control and understanding of music were levels above Jiang Manhong's. However, since Qin Feng made everyone mad earlier, even if they noticed, they wouldn't mention it. Brat, let's consider this a lesson your big brother has for you today. Now you know what a real piano performance is. Jiang Manhong basked proudly in all the applause he received, and even provoked Qin Feng. Qin Feng smiled lightly, then sat at the piano once again. I, Qin Feng, am a person who stands by my word. Earlier, I said I was going to instruct you, so I'm not going to eat my words. As such, the song you played was horrible. Qin Feng had just finished speaking when his fingers began to dance across the piano keys. If one were to rank Qin Feng's elementary piano skills, it would be equivalent to a nationally recognized level 10 expert. How could Jiang Manhong, a level 6 pianist, compare? Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. An elegant and beautiful tune was heard once again, and it was Castle in the Sky, which Jiang Manhong had just played. However, when Qin Feng played, the song had a very different feel to it. It was animated and happy with a distant hint of worried consideration. It didn't only elicit one emotion, but drew out a complex variety of them, like an unopened can of rainbow candy. Every color represented an emotion, and they surged from the depths of everyone's souls. He's actually playing with one hand. Someone shouted in surprise, causing the audience to regain their senses. Qin Feng had a hand behind his back and was playing the iconic song with just his right hand and his feet, pushing the piece to new heights. Though many people disliked Qin Feng, they couldn't help but admit that they had to bow down to Qin Feng's superb piano performance. They had either expressions of contentment or faces of excited immersion in the beautiful music. They had no way of getting themselves out. As long as Qin Feng didn't stop, they seemed to be unable to escape of their trance. Jiang Manhong was stunned, and his eyes almost fell out of his skull. The other three talents were also stunned. They could all tell that Qin Feng's performance was far superior to Jiang Manhong's. Su Xiatian was also briefly dazed. Listening to the song evoked memories of her colorful childhood, the happy days when she still had her parents with her. Thump! The last note fell, and Qin Feng stood. He wandered up to Jiang Manhong and smiled lightly at him as he asked, "Talent Jiang, did you learn something?" At this, Jiang Manhong regained his senses and stared coldly at Qin Feng. He knew that his piano skills were indeed inferior to Qin Feng's, and his prior words were like needles stabbing him in the chest. Though he was angry and unwilling to accept the reality, he couldn't utter a word. I'd like to gift that song I just played to Miss Su Xiatian as well. I hope you liked it, Miss Su. Qin Feng spoke gently, and the audience slowly came back to themselves. Many people began to look at Qin Feng differently. In particular, some heiresses were sending Qin Feng coquettish glances. Haha, they're both expert pianists and they both played equally well. Since Jiang Manhong failed, Li Yang immediately stepped forward. With a flourish, he removed his purple jacket and tossed it aside. He wore a white dress shirt, and the shirt was extremely thin. Under the magnificent lights, one could make out his firm pecs and sexy eight-pack. Wow, Li Yang is my favorite among the 4 talents. Look at his muscles. I want to go up and feel them. He truly is a fitness god. His body is such a perfect inverted triangle. How nice it would be if he took off his shirt as well. Li Yang had the best body among the 4 talents and was known as the fitness god. He purposely flexed his muscles after taking off his jacket, immediately eliciting a wave of cheers. Miss Su, you're the top heiress in Sky City. Let me, Li Yang, stay by your side and act as your personal bodyguard. Li Yang's words made the other beautiful women jealous. The mere thought of one of the 4 talents, Li Yang, volunteering to be their personal bodyguard made many women blush. I don't have much of an opinion regarding your becoming my personal bodyguard, but you have to first prove your abilities. Su Xiatian looked nonchalantly at Li Yang. She didn't care much about his muscles. How do you want me to prove myself, Miss Su? Li Yang's eyes brightened. Su Xiatian really was different today. She agreed so easily. You saw that piano-playing guy from earlier? He looks really cocky and he embarrassed Jiang Manhong. One of your 4 talents. Go suppress him. If you can make him lose face once, that'll prove that you're capable and I'll consider making you my personal bodyguard, said Su Xiatian indifferently. Li Yang laughed, sneered internally. He hated Qin Feng the most because in the restroom earlier, Qin Feng soaked his entire head. Now that Su Xiatian also hated the guy and even told him to teach the guy a lesson, Li Yang was unspeakably happy. Qin Feng, right? Your piano skills aren't bad. Would you be interested in competing with me as well? Li Yang smiled and arrived before Qin Feng. Oh ho, you changed your hairstyle quick. Didn't you have a bowl cut earlier? Now you have an afro. Qin Feng smiled at Li Yang. Not bad, not bad. Rich people really are willful. You even change your hairstyle 3 times a day. Li Yang was so angry at Qin Feng that he almost spat blood. How could he not tell what Qin Feng was alluding to? The scene in the restroom where Li Yang got his head soaked immediately came to mind, and his stomach churned with anger. Do you have the guts to compete with me or not? Why would I compete with you? If I win, will I gain a lot of face? Qin Feng looked at Li Yang like he was looking at a fool. The audience surrounded and weighed the 2 of them converse. When have the 4 talents ever been slapped in the face by someone? But they seem to be out of luck today. If you beat me, then I'll give you 100,000 yuan. Li Yang was desperate. He had to lure Qin Feng into competing with him. Otherwise, how else could he miss the opportunity to defeat Qin Feng and become Su Xiatian's personal bodyguard? What poor taste! What childishness! Qin Feng glanced at Li Yang. A mouthful of fresh blood almost sprayed out of Li Yang's mouth. This guy was actually calling him childish. Why, you're afraid of me. That's why you don't want to compete. Am I right? Li Yang now attempted to use psychological methods to tempt Qin Feng. You're right. I'm afraid of you. There's something wrong with your brain. I'm really afraid that if you keep talking, I'll go crazy as well. Qin Feng spoke while walking up to Su Xiatian. Li Yang had an icy expression as he followed Qin Feng, looking like his underling. Wherever Qin Feng went, he went as well. Then tell me what you want me to do to get you to compete with me. Li Yang felt defeated by Qin Feng. In the face of this guy, he was helpless. Beg me and be sincere. If you can move me, then I'll think about it. Qin Feng sat at a table and smiled as he cast flirty glances at Su Xiatian. Su Xiatian was so angry that she stamped her foot, turned away, and pretended not to know Qin Feng. All the rich young masters and heiresses were stunned. They were all wide-eyed, their mouths were agape, and they looked like they wanted to eat their fists. Were these really Sky City's distinguished, uninhibited, and insufferably arrogant four talents? Why were they all so pitiful today? First, Jiang Manhong's piano skills were subpar and Qin Feng taught him a lesson. Now, Li Yang was like an underling begging Qin Feng to fight him. Who was this Qin Feng that the four talents were so set on him? Did he really have that strong a reputation? Li Yang's fists were clenched so tightly that they made cracking noises. For a talent like him, begging Qin Feng to compete with him was worse than death. However, when Li Yang saw the looks the other three talents cast his way, he could only internally admit his mistake. Since they still had a plan to complete today, and Li Yang was certain he wouldn't lose this competition, he didn't really mind begging Qin Feng for now. Later, when they competed, he would ruthlessly slap this brat in the face and release the rage within him. He would make sure Qin Feng couldn't even lift his head. "Okay, I'm begging you to compete with me." Once Li Yang said this, a sea of gasps came from all around. Chapter 321. Chapter 321. Please make up your mind. Do you want to take it out or not? Were they still the cold and prideful, pretentious F4 group? Were they still the high and mighty four talents of Sky City in everybody's heart? I can't feel your sincerity. Your expression is blank and your voice is flat. Just forget about it. You should find another person for a competition. Qin Feng scoffed, waving his hand. He discovered the conspiracy of the four talents at the restroom. He also knew these four fellows would proactively come looking for trouble with him because of Su Xia Tian's provocation. Qin Feng realized the world was too sinister. He just wanted to be a low-profile flower boy at Sky City. Why did everybody have to target him? However, Qin Feng relaxed soon after. Well, it wasn't his fault that he was a prodigy brimming with talent. He was simply born to be envied by others. Brother Qin Feng, it's our destiny to meet each other today. Can you have a friendly ma with me to commemorate the beginning of our friendship? Although Li Yang spoke with a friendly expression, he was actually angered to death in his heart. Qin Feng was Su Xia Tian's only companion, so he had to protect her. Since somebody was plotting against Su Xia Tian, Qin Feng couldn't remain indifferent anymore. He then answered Li Yang with a smile. "How do you want to compete with me, Talently?" Li Yang jumped with joy when Qin Feng agreed to the duel. "It's just a simple ma. Friendship first, competition second. How about arm wrestling?" Li Yang's words stirred up the crowd. Although Li Yang looked harmless now, appearances were deceptive. His muscle strength and sheer power were the top among the four talents. During their debut, many young masters loathed them and challenged them to duels. As a result, countless Herculeans had lost to Li Yang in arm wrestling. Most of the challengers had their arms broken by Li Yang. In the most minor case, someone had his fingers snapped. Sima Zhao's ill intent is known to all. And now, Li Yang wanted to arm wrestle with Qin Feng. It was obvious that he wanted to destroy Qin Feng at this point. Okay, arm wrestling is good, easy, and straightforward. I like it. Qin Feng agreed. He then added, "That ancient clad in a robe is one of the four talents, right? Isn't he going to want to have a calligraphy contest with me later? Let's cut to the chase. I'll arm wrestle with you using one hand and have a calligraphy contest with him using the other. 2 contests at a time. It'll be more efficient." Everybody's jaw dropped to the floor when they heard Qin Feng's suggestion. The four talents' expressions were malicious when they looked at Qin Feng again. This was because they were certain that Qin Feng had overheard their secret plan. Otherwise, how would he know Zhao Yusheng wanted to do calligraphy? Zhao Yusheng got to his feet. He sent a gloomy glare at Qin Feng and said, "Humph, this elder should fulfill your death wish then." Qin Feng ignored their expressions and sat opposite Li Yang. A tea table on the left side had been cleared and the 4 treasures of the study were put on it. As soon as Zhao Yusheng sat by that tea table, he'd picked up his writing brush and dipped it in ink already. Qin Feng had acquired an elementary-grade Thunder Tiger Fists, elementary-grade piano skill, and elementary-grade calligraphy skill during his first lottery. After that, He got an intermediate-grade car racing skill and intermediate-grade painting skill from the second lottery. He had never used the elementary-grade calligraphy skill before, so he thought today was the right time for him to use this skill. Otherwise, he might grow rusty if he didn't use it for a long time. Qin Feng clamped his right hand with Li Yang's while holding a writing brush with his left hand, dipping it in ink. Both contests began at the same time. Li Yang brought to bear all his strength as soon as the battle started, planning to break Qin Feng's arm before Qin Feng could write calligraphy. He also planned to retire Qin Feng from the rest of contests. However, the situation didn't go as he planned. He'd gone all out, but Qin Feng's arm was as steady as a hill and didn't budge even an inch. Besides, he also noticed Qin Feng seemingly hadn't used any of his strength yet. Qin Feng didn't even pay attention to his right hand, concentrating instead on writing on the Xian paper. Some voices wafted from the onlookers surrounding them. Su Xiatian, in particular, was astounded. She'd never imagined a country bumpkin like Qin Feng would be so arrogant and domineering. Li Yang's right hand bulged with veins. Large drops of sweat started to ooze from his forehead. He was ashamed and annoyed because he heard somebody talking behind his back. He was the powerhouse of 4 talents, an undefeatable entity. How could he meet a monstrous Qin Feng today? He even began to wonder whether this kid stuck his arm to the tea table. Bang! A loud noise came from the crowd. This noise startled everyone. Some jumped a step back while some covered their mouths and screamed. The battle between Qin Feng and Li Yang was over. Qin Feng had suddenly exerted immense strength and slammed Li Yang's arm into the tea table, embedding his entire arm in the solid wood tabletop. Li Yang couldn't get it out now. At the same time, Qin Feng had finished his calligraphy and elegantly thrown down the writing brush in his left hand. Li Wang was trying hard to pull his arm out of the wooden table. He was in so much pain that he yelped every time he moved his arm. However, nobody noticed his condition as everyone's attention was focused on Qin Feng's and Zhao Yusheng's Xian papers. Zhao Yusheng was renowned as the master of calligraphy in Sky City. Last year, a calligraphy master praised his calligraphy skill at a calligraphy exhibition in the provincial capital, and due to the recognition of that calligraphy master, he had been catapulted to fame. His calligraphy was so popular that some rich and power in Sky City paid large sums for his inscription. Now, Zhao Yusheng had finished his calligraphy as well. There were only 4 characters on his Xian paper. Ignorant and illiterate plebeian. These 4 characters were written using orthodox regular script. These characters were neat and the strength used were uniform. These 4 characters seemed to have grown out from the Xian paper. The ink marks were substantial, and the strokes were natural and unforced, vivid and lifelike. Everybody knew these 4 characters were meant to insult Qin Feng. Zhao Yusheng didn't pass up the opportunity to insult Qin Feng even though it was a contest. This showed that he was very confident. In his eyes, this contest was merely a game for him to suppress and ridicule Qin Feng. Nice writing. Talent Zhao indeed is a genius calligrapher among the younger generation in Sky City. I'd want to collect this masterpiece if we could change the text. Hey, all of us are young masters, so how come the 4 of you are so talented while we aren't? So handsome. Talent Zhao's handwriting is as good-looking as his appearance. Those who saw Zhao Yusheng's calligraphy couldn't restrain themselves and praised him. Without a doubt, Zhao Yusheng really had some foundation in calligraphy. Besides, very few people would write with gel ink pen nowadays, much less a brush. So Zhao Yusheng was just required to show a tip of the iceberg of his penmanship and he could stun everybody. Wow, what's this? Even though I can't read a single word, but it feels so domineering and unrestrained. An exclamation rose among the crowd when everybody was busy flattering Zhao Yusheng. Everybody was flabbergasted when their gaze fell on Qin Feng's Xian paper. Qin Feng had written a long segment of an ancient poem. There were hundreds of words on Qin Feng's Xian paper. Each and every word galloped like horses, wanton and uninhibited. Qin Feng seemed to have granted them life. They were now galloping and soaring freely on Xian paper. They were like a magnificent army with thousands of men and horses, or an army battalion fighting fiercely on a battlefield. Even though the handwriting was hard to understand, it could boost the morale of anyone who saw it. Wild scribble. It's cursive script. Finally, somebody from the crowd was able to recognize Qin Feng's handwriting. It was cursive script, the hardest to learn and master in Chinese calligraphy. This type of script was loose and ski. Not only did it take years to master this script, it required the calligraphy to have a wild-minded and bohemian characteristic as well. How could a person write true wild cursive script without a wide-ranging and carefree life experience? Zhao Yusheng was astounded. He stared at Qin Feng's Xian paper with a pale expression, unable to accept the truth. Zhao Yusheng never imagined Qin Feng could write such a beautiful and wild script at the same time as he was arm wrestling with Li Yang. Furthermore, it was an ancient poem with 150 words. How could he accomplish this amazing feat in such a short time? Not even he, Zhao Yusheng, could have done it. He could only write at most 50 words in the same amount of time. Aya, Talently, what's wrong with your arm? Who the fuck did this to you? Didn't we agree to put our friendship ahead of the contest? We battled wholeheartedly. Whose heart is so wicked to do such thing to you? While everybody was stunned by Qin Feng's cursive script, he suddenly looked at Li Yang, who had been putting all his effort into extracting his arm from the wooden table. The corner of Li Yang's mouth quirked vigorously. He almost ranted in anger, but he choked it off at last. This was because he knew only Qin Feng could help him remove his arm. Is this person human or a demon? How come he has such a terrifying strength? Li Yang glared at Qin Feng and said, Qin Feng, help me to extract my arm now. With a couple of strides, Qin Feng arrived at Li Yang's side. He then asked earnestly, Talently, do you really want to take it out? I think it's good to have a tea table hanging on your arm when you go out next time. You could sit down and have a cup of tea if you're tired of walking. TSK. Seems like my view is too narrow. People from the city really know how to entertain themselves. You son of a bai, cursed Li Yang in his heart. He then pasted a smile on his face and said to Qin Feng, That's a good joke, brother Qin Feng. Anyway, please help me to take out my arm first. Well, since Talently insists, I'm glad to give you a hand. As soon as Qin Feng finished his words, he grabbed Li Yang's arm with his large hand and pulled it out instantly. It was just that Qin Feng's strength was too powerful. The skin and flesh of Li Yang's arm were scraped by the wood splinters in the tea table. It was so painful that he wailed like a ghost and howled like a wolf. Seeing Li Yang's anguish expression, Qin Feng slammed Li Yang's arm back into the table again with a bang. With a puzzled face, he then asked Li Yang, Talently, do you want me to take it out or not? Please make up your mind. You're confusing me. Chapter 322. Chapter 322. This is my personal bodyguard. Li Yang's arm was pushed and pulled. It hurt so much that he wanted to die. The skin and flesh of his arm was almost torn by the edges of the wooden table. The fresh blood streaming out was frightening to see. His expression was malevolent. He breathed heavily, the veins in his forehead bulging, beads of sweat as large as beans dripping from his head. He angrily clenched his teeth as he glared at Qin Feng. However, he was completely helpless against him. See, could you pull my arm out? And don't push it back this time, Li Yang said through clenched teeth, seething. Qin Feng shook his head, looking at Li Yang with disdain and said, Don't bother me anymore. I know you're toying with me. When I pull your arm out, you'll tell me to hit it back in. And after I hit it back in, you'll tell me to pull it back out again. You city people, why do you like playing such senseless games? Though I, Qin Feng, am poor, I have my pride. I won't be played by you like a pawn. This is my bottom line as a human being. Qin Feng complained as he shook his head. His serious expression made Li Yang want to kill him. Miss Su Xiatian, I personally made this 7-colored rainbow for you. I hope you'll like it. While the audience was focused on Qin Feng, Zhao Yusheng, and Li Yang, when Su walked over in a light blue suit, bringing a cocktail. Among the 4 talents, he was an expert drink mixer. The 7-colored rainbow in his hand was his specialty. The wineglass contained different spirits of varying alcohol content, with each spirit forming one of 7 layers. The layers were incomparably vibrant, and as beautiful as a rainbow. This beautiful cocktail whetted the viewer's appetite and made them want to taste it. The heiresses all around were practically drooling, and they were increasingly jealous of Su Xiatian. On this night, all of the four talents were trying to gain her favor. It would be so nice if when Su could make me such a beautiful seven-colored rainbow too. When Su arrived beside Su Xiatian and extended the wine glass in his hand to her. Miss Su, because the temperature of the glass will change in a bit, the alcohol content of the spirits will also change, messing up the drink, and the seven-colored rainbow won't look good anymore. When Su had a polite expression, and there was a slight smile on his handsome face. He and the other three talents had their gazes pinned to the glass in Su Xiatian's hand. All of the four talents' plans had been spoiled by Qin Feng tonight. Now, all of their hopes depended on this cocktail. Su Xiatian raised the glass and stared at the rainbow for a while. Then, she slowly moved her lips toward the drink to take a sip. She'd spent an entire night weighing this show before her, and she felt a bit thirsty. Wait. Su Xiatian's lips hadn't even touched the rim of the glass when Qin Feng walked up to her with a smile. Without Su Xiatian's consent, he grabbed the glass in her hand and lifted it up to examine it in the light. Talent 1, tell me, if you put drugs in your cocktail, would it be visible in the light? Qin Feng smiled at Wensu, and in Wensu's eyes, the smile was as frightening as a devil. Wensu tried to keep his trembling legs from shaking, and he feigned calmness as he looked at Qin Feng. What the hell are you saying, brat? Hurry and give the drink back to Miss Su Xiatian. I made the drink especially for her. You don't have the right to taste it. Qin Feng wagged his index finger and laughed. No, no, no. I never said I would drink this. This drink contains a potent drug from Africa. My body is already strong enough. I don't need a plaything like this to make me stronger. HM? You said that you made this drink for Miss Su specifically. Then that means you drugged Miss Su's drink on purpose. Once Qin Feng said this, a wave of gasps arose from all around. Everyone present was from Sky City's elite, and they all knew one another. Who didn't know the infamous Sky City #1 she-devil? Who wasn't afraid of the Su family, the most powerful family in Sky City? If what Qin Feng said was true, then was Wensu crazy or stupid? He actually had the gall to drug Su Xiatian's drink? And with some potent drug imported from Africa? Why, you brat, don't slander me. Wensu was a bit frazzled, and alarm flashed through the other three talents' faces. If Su Xiatian discovered tonight's plan to drug her, they didn't dare imagine the consequences. Zhang Manhong and Zhao Yusheng now arrived beside Wensu. The three of them confronted Qin Feng together. Li Yang also wanted to join the fight, but his arm remained embedded in the coffee table and he still couldn't get it out. Qin Feng, where the hell did you come from? Why have we never seen you in Sky City? You didn't come here to purposely frame Wensu, did you? Brother Jiang is right. Your identity is very suspicious. Who are you exactly? Zhang Manhong and Zhao Yusheng changed the topic and pointed the tip of the spear at Qin Feng's head. In the first clubhouse, everyone had money and power. How could an irrelevant person come in so easily? Unless this person was a bad guy, and he snuck into the clubhouse to kill someone and cause trouble, then who would assume the responsibility for this? Since the four talents stepped forward and questioned Qin Feng's identity, the beautiful manager of the first clubhouse showed up immediately. If there was something problematic about Qin Feng's identity, then the first clubhouse would bear all the responsibility. Manager Lin, perfect timing. I'm suspicious of this brat's identity. I want to see his membership card, said Zhao Yusheng as he looked at Manager Lin. A membership card was necessary to enter the first clubhouse. However, Qin Feng was a new face at the clubhouse, so it was the first time everyone had seen him. Zhao Yusheng had reason to believe that Qin Feng snuck his way in. In a difficult situation, Manager Lin looked at Qin Feng. Sir, may I please trouble you to present your membership card? According to the clubhouse's rules, since everyone that entered had a membership card, she had no right to re-inspect it. However, between Qin Feng and Sky City's four talents, of course Manager Lin would choose the four talents. Membership card? It's not too late to make one now, right? Qin Feng laughed. Surprised cries and discussion arose in the crowd. This person really didn't have a membership card, and he easily admitted it. But how did he get in? The audience kept guessing at Qin Feng's identity, and the four talents finally smiled. Zhao Yusheng turned to the beautiful manager and said, "Manager Lin, this is your first clubhouse's dereliction of duty and your negligence at work. How could you let someone without a membership card in so easily? Look at what this hoodlum has done after coming in. Look at how Talent Li's arm is still stuck. The first clubhouse won't be able to shirk responsibility for this. What do you have to say about this?" Manager Lin's clear forehead was covered with small beads of sweat. She couldn't understand how Qin Feng had gotten in without a membership card. When she saw how he'd beaten up Talent Li Yang, she thought his methods were quite funny. Manager Lin used all her might to suppress her laughter, then looked coldly at the two guards behind her and said, "Take Mr. Qin to the lobby. I'll call the police right now and have them take care of this." "Talent Zhao, are you satisfied with this?" "It's not about my satisfaction. This is negligence by the first clubhouse. Send a couple more guards to Wa the brat. He's really strong. Who knows whether or not he'll escape," murmured Zhao Yusheng. "Okay, I'll take care of it right now." Originally, Qin Feng caught Wen Su red-handed and was going to reveal the four talents for what they really were, but now the four talents joined forces to control Qin Feng and get him arrested and detained. And it had to be mentioned that this meeting of the rich was like the feast at Hongmin. With a bit of carelessness, it became a mess. Wait, when Su Xiatian, who had kept quiet until now, saw the two guards restraining Qin Feng, she stood up suddenly, looked indifferently at Qin Feng, then said emotionlessly, "This person is my bodyguard. I brought him here secretly to protect me." The four talents were stunned, and so was everyone else present. The two guards who were holding Qin Feng's arms immediately released him in fright. They looked as though they had touched a scalding taro. Who was Su Xiatian? Sky City's #1 she-devil. The Su Elder's precious granddaughter. Who the hell would have the guts to oppose her? If Qin Feng really was Su Xiatian's bodyguard, then he was of a higher status than even some of the rich young masters and heiresses present. What right did the two security guards have to detain Qin Feng? Even the first clubhouse's manager Lin was at a loss. Bodyguard? Su Xiatian's undercover bodyguard. At this time, the four talents were dumbstruck, and Su Xiatian's words played in their heads in an endless loop. They were so shocked that their legs turned to jelly. And here they were, carrying out some stupid plan to drug Su Xiatian? This plan had been discovered by Su Xiatian's bodyguard in the restroom right from the beginning. When they thought about how strange Su Xiatian was acting today and how she intentionally let everyone compete with Qin Feng, the four talents suddenly realized the truth. Tonight, they had been played by the little she-devil, and she kept everyone in the dark the whole time. This was blatant humiliation. But the four talents had no time to care about whether or not it was humiliating. Now that Su Xiatian knew about the drugging plan, they didn't dare continue with it. How would Sky City's #1 she-devil punish them? That's right. Qin Feng is my undercover bodyguard. Do you still want to arrest him? Su Xiatian noticed everyone standing there stupidly, so she repeated herself in an even stronger manner. She hated Qin Feng, and she wanted to see him make a fool of himself. Seeing him get taken away by the first clubhouse's security guards would be great, but she felt apprehensive due to one problem. Since Qin Feng was her older sister's guest, if he really was taken away by the first clubhouse's security guards and sent to the police station, her older sister would have to personally come out and have him released. Then, when her sister speaks to Qin Feng and discovers that she brought Qin Feng to the first clubhouse and didn't save him, wouldn't she be the one to get punished in the end? Su Xiatian wasn't that stupid. Thus, she stepped forward to protect Qin Feng. Zhao Yusheng's countenance became grave as he spoke. Before, I thought Su Xiatian was a willful chick that hadn't grown up, and that she was a lot worse than her mature sister. Now it seems that those two women of the Su family are profound. We might have a rough time after this. The three other talents' faces became ill after they heard Zhao Yusheng's analysis. They'd concocted a secret plan against Su Xiatian, and at the end of the day, they'd fallen into her trap instead. Su Xiatian was extremely stubborn. Not even 10 cows could pull her back if she was determined to do something. Her high heel was firm on the accelerator, and the sports car was still speeding against the traffic. Qin Feng was angered. He waved his large hand and pulled Su Xiatian directly from the driver's seat. It was just that he was unsure which part of her body he grabbed in desperation. He just felt it was soft and spongy. Ah, release your hand, Qin Feng. It's too painful. How dare you attack my boobs, you pervert bastard. I'm going to fucking kill you. Su Xiatian sat in Qin Feng's arms and hammered her little pink fists on Qin Feng's pecs. Qin Feng didn't feel anything as he was wearing his flying dragon armor. He hastily slid into the driver's seat and took control of the sports car. With a beautiful and clean tail flick, he flung the sports car back to the original driving lane. Su Xiatian stopped her attack. She sat in the passenger seat and stared blankly at Qin Feng. The drift Qin Feng performed just now was too cool. He was able to complete a series of movements in such a short distance, and that virtuosic driving skill robbed Su Xiatian of speech. Suddenly, Su Xiatian thought back to Qin Feng's amazing feats at the first clubhouse. Prince of Piano, King of Power, Master of Calligraphy, highly skilled driver. Su Xiatian suddenly realized Qin Feng couldn't be a penniless peasant worker. This person must be an international secret agent. Chapter 324. Chapter 324. Slowly torment them. Qin Feng stopped the car at an empty spot on the roadside, and Su Xiatian regained her senses. She looked at Qin Feng in alarm. Tell me, who the hell are you? Are you a secret agent from the Dragon Group? So the Dragon Group really exists. How do you train? Do you have a 12-pack? Are you hiding a gun in your pocket? Let me see. Qin Feng blushed a bit. Did he want to show this girl his hidden gun? What if she took a liking to it after seeing it? Xiatian, I stopped the car to talk to you about serious matters. Qin Feng put his dirty thoughts away and became serious. He'd come all the way to Sky City to complete the system's quest. He had to take down Sky City's Su family's business. Thus, the moment Qin Feng stepped into Sky City, he'd been gauging the power dynamics. Since he participated in the Gathering of the Rich in the first clubhouse earlier, Qin Feng had a much better picture of Sky City's power structure. And now that Qin Feng had information to use against the four talents, this would be very helpful in taking down the Su family in the future. That's right. Since those four beasts wanted to rape me, Qin Feng, rush back to the first clubhouse. I want to kick their balls until they burst. Su Xiatian thought of the four talents plan and was infuriated once again. Qin Feng's face darkened. This Su Xiatian really is the #1 she-devil. She can say anything. Qin Feng felt really lucky. Good thing I haven't offended this fiery chili pepper. Ha ha ha. Let's not go back. Why are we not going back? Are you afraid of those 4 pieces of trash? If you're afraid, get the hell out of the car. I'll go kill them myself. Su Xiatian stared coldly at Qin Feng. I'm not afraid of them. It's just that the situation has already passed. So if we go back and look for trouble, that would be really low, said Qin Feng calmly. I was almost raped by those 4 beasts, and you're saying that taking revenge on them is low? Have you ever thought about how I feel? I'm a virgin maiden. I don't care. I want to go back right now. Su Xiatian wouldn't listen to reason. She pouted and fought for the driver's seat. The skin of Qin Feng's waist was almost pinched off by this woman. In his anger, he wrapped her in his embrace and held her arms so she couldn't move. This girl got really angry. She was so angry that small beads of sweat formed on her forehead. A fruity fragrance wafted from her body, and her chest heaved. The proximity of the sight almost made Qin Feng lose control of himself. Stinking trash, let go. What are you trying to do to me? Su Xiatian kicked her slender legs and struggled. Qin Feng let her do what she wanted. Xiatian, if you go back now, they'll probably still be there. Then, you'll rush up and slap them 10 times each. They probably won't retaliate. After all, we have information that implicates them. Then the four originally handsome faces get slapped so much that even their moms won't recognize them, and you'll send 4 kicks at them to ruin their happiness for the rest of their lives. That would be so cathartic, and you'd finally be satisfied. Right. I want to punish them like that. Su Xiatian nodded earnestly. Let go. I'm going to go back now and cripple them. Qin Feng didn't let go. He looked earnestly at Su Xiatian and said, and then? Su Xiatian ground her teeth and stared at Qin Feng. What do you mean by and then? There's no then. You probably haven't thought of this problem because your big sister always cleaned your behind after you caused trouble. Since I'm your good husband, then I'll break it down for you this time. Then, the 4 talents would have their family lines ended, and the 4 family clans behind them would be furious. Each of the clans is an opponent of the Su family, so they'll join hands to attack the Su family. For a momentary thrill, you'd send the Su family into the heart of a storm. You'd push your sister and family into a living hell. Maybe the Su family would win the war, but it would suffer greatly. Sooner or later, it would no longer have the power and wealth of the #1 family in Sky City. Many families coveting the role of #1 family would stir and mobilize against you. They'd all continue to suppress you and seize and split your power and wealth. The end would be tragic. The Su family would fall from the ranks of the powerful family clans. The rich young masters that coveted your older sister's beauty and yours would then have no more reservations. They would kidnap you too and forcefully ravish your bodies. They might even sell you to Africa and make you prostitutes. Then, they'll sell you to Vietnam and make you cheap wives. Say no more. Don't say anything else. Su Xiatian blanched. She was so afraid that she cut Qin Feng off. Though she was mischievous and immature by nature, her intellect was sound and mature. She understood everything that Qin Feng explained. Also, she felt that the possibility Qin Feng spoke of was very high. If she went back to cripple the 4 talents right now, the Su family would really fall into the pits of hell. When Su Xiatian was really young, her parents died in a car accident. She had a thoughtless personality, but in this world, there were still 2 people whom she loved and cherished and would use her life to protect. One was her older sister, Su Qiuyu, and the other was the Su elder, Su Haonan. Su Xiatian could be stubborn and irrational, but she couldn't hurt her 2 family members. Qin Feng, then what should I do? They went too far, so we can't let them get away with it, right? Su Xiatian never thought her headstrongness would be so problematic. After hearing Qin Feng's explanation, her entire head felt muddled. She pinned her large, vibrant eyes on Qin Feng, waiting for him to make a decision for her. Little wife, now you know how useful your good husband is. Qin Feng smiled and traced Su Xiatian's pointed chin. He said, Wifey, first kiss me, and then I'll tell you how to take care of those 4 beasts. As Sky City's #1 she-devil, had Su Xiatian ever let a man touch her chin? She was about to explode with anger, but at the moment, she could only rely on Qin Feng and suppress her anger. She pursed her lips and mumbled, Tell me what the plan is first. What if you're tricking me, and you haven't actually thought of anything yet? Then I'll have kissed you for nothing. I'll kiss you after I've heard your plan and confirmed its feasibility. Su Xiatian's lovely eyes darted about, and a crafty look even flashed through them. How could Qin Feng not know what this girl was thinking? However, he had only been joking. He didn't actually want to force Su Xiatian into kissing him. After all, the 2 of them had just met, and Su Xiatian had such a strong personality. Sometimes, it was better not to overdo it. All right, then seeing how good our little wifey is, I'll tell you. Qin Feng smiled and said, We have this recording on hand. This is the worry that the 4 beasts can't get rid of. As long as the recording is in our possession, they wouldn't be able to sleep properly. We'll use this and have them groveling. If you've taken a liking to any business or power their family clans possess, then with this evidence, you'd be sure to gain unimaginable benefits. This evidence will trap the 4 beasts' family clans and make them little wifey's prisoner. Since they had dirty thoughts about you, let's deal with them slowly and let them feel the consequences of offending Sky City's #1 she-devil. We'll make them wish they were dead. Qin Feng's plan was completely reasonable and also extremely feasible. Su Xiatian originally had her lips pursed in irritation, but she was blooming with happiness soon after. Her smile was radiant, and she smiled so widely that her mouth was about to tear. Haha, Qinfeng, your idea is great. You're right. You're doomed if you offend me. Sky City's #1 she-devil. Su Xiatian was extremely elated. The anger in her heart dispersed. She hugged Qin Feng's neck emotionally and bounced in her seat. Qin Feng felt the girl's smooth arms and saw the large, bouncing white rabbits before his eyes. He felt a bloody nose coming. You pervert. Where are you looking? I'll gouge your eyes out. And when did you put my arms around your neck? Shameless. Qin Feng felt very wronged. Thus, he fiercely stole 2 more glances at Su Xiatian's long legs to make up for it. Little wifey, you change faster than flipping the page of a book. I had just thought of a good plan to deal with the beasts, and now you've become hostile. You even said you were going to kiss me at first. Su Xiatian really had said that. Flustered, she demurred. When did I say that? Why don't I remember? Oh no, the sky's getting dark. Hurry and take me home. I'm a good child. When it's time, I have to go home for dinner. Qin Feng knew Su Xiatian would feign ignorance, so he smiled and drove. Since he called Su Xiatian little wifey a good number of times earlier, the girl had gotten used to it and didn't pursue the matter anymore. With Qin Feng's many years of experience courting girls, he was sure that not long from now this girl Su Xiatian will fall into his clues, and she won't be able to escape. Under Su Xiatian's guidance, Qin Feng quickly drove back to the Su family old mansion. On the way back, Qin Feng exhibited his startling and mysterious driving skills. Even Su Xiatian screamed a couple of times in fright. She discovered that Qin Feng was in no way as simple as he seemed on the outside. This guy was pretty much capable at anything. He was unflustered and far-sighted, reasoning clearly and planning thoroughly. He was truly a formidable person. Qin Feng, wait. As Qin Feng was about to get out of the car, Su Xiatian held him back. Qin Feng looked at Su Xiatian with a distrustful and happy expression. Has this girl been tempted by my handsomeness into wanting to shake the car? Chapter 325. Chapter 325, Strife Within the Su Family. With a vulgar smile, Qin Feng impatiently unbuttoned his clothes. After he took off his blazer, he realized Su Xiatian was putting on clothes. Before, Su Xiatian had worn a black tracksuit. When they arrived at the first clubhouse, she'd changed into an alluring, trendy miniskirt with a pair of black stockings. Qin Feng had been puzzled at that time. Where had her tracksuit gone? Qin Feng finally understood now. Su Xiatian left her tracksuit in the sports car. She changed into a tracksuit and pretended to be a good girl when she was home. This woman, when she was home, she was a little sheep. When she was outside, she was a tigress. Confused by Qin Feng's action, Su Xiatian asked after she finished donning her tracksuit, "Why'd you take your blazer off, Qin Feng?" Apparently, Su Xiatian had always done this kind of stuff, as she managed to put on her tracksuit within 2 or 3 minutes. Embarrassed, Qin Feng screwed his head and chuckled. Haha, it's hot here. Doesn't little wife think so? Hot your head. Su Xiatian stared scornfully at Qin Feng. It was hot in the first clubhouse just now. Why didn't you take off your blazer then? It's windy at night now, and you say it's hot. You're really out of your mind. After she mocked Qin Feng, Su Xiatian then alighted from the car. Qin Feng hastily put on his blazer and followed her. When they entered the Su family mansion, Qin Feng looked around in curiosity. The exterior of this mansion was spectacular, but he'd never imagined the interior would be even more magnificent and vast. The compound consisted of many ancient wooden brick buildings and villas. It had the air of a royal courtyard, low profile yet without losing impact. However, Qin Feng wondered at the security system of this compound, which wasn't that good. He'd expected this compound to be guarded by many black-suited bodyguards, but he only saw a few along the way. Your house seems not to have much staff, little wife? Don't tell me only the two of you stay in this humongous mansion. Qin Feng was happy as a lark in his heart. If that's true, I can play to my heart's content tonight. The Su family's old mansion holds hundreds of people. Normally, it's heavily guarded and very lively. But, you're right, tonight is a little bit weird. Let's hurry to the main building. Sister must be waiting on me for dinner. Su Xia Tian furrowed her eyebrows, a bad premonition suddenly stirring within her. Su Xia Tian walked faster and faster with Qin Feng beside her. Very soon, both of them arrived at a grand main building under Su Xia Tian's lead. The duo was stunned by the situation they encountered as soon as they entered main building's lobby. This definitely was a family meeting, and it was not just the gathering of the family's core members. Even the collateral members were here. The vast lobby was now packed with 40 to 50 peoples. All of them had grave and cold countenances, while the person standing in front of them was a beauty that could overrun cities and topple nations. She was the Sky City's #1 noble beauty, Su Qiuyu. The sight was bizarre, as if Su Qiuyu was teaching a class of students. Regaining her senses very quickly, Su Xiatian hastily ran to Su Qiuyu's side. Sister, what's going on? Su Qiuyu's brows eased when she saw that her little sister had returned. She pulled Su Xiatian by the arm to her side. She then shook her head to keep her sister silent. Now that your little sister has returned, the core members of our Su family's immediate and collateral members have all arrived as well. It's time for you to give us an explanation, Qiuyu. A middle-aged man in the crowd suddenly stood up. His expression was mighty and cold, and a strong aura was emanating from his body. His underlings' morale were heightened by his action, and they stood up as well. All of them focused their attention on Su Qiuyu. Su Qiuyu was calm when facing more than 50 people and hundreds of eyes. This woman was only 23 years old, but she had a calm and impressive demeanor that belied her age. She held tightly to her little sister's hand. Only Su Xiatian could feel her sister's nervousness from the cold sweat oozing from Su Qiuyu's hand. You suddenly bring your family members to Grandpa's room at this late hour and ask for an explanation from me. To be honest, I'm not sure what kind of explanation you want from me, second uncle. Su Qiuyu returned the question to Su Ming. Her grandpa was bedridden and showed no sign of improvement after 3 months. Su Qiuyu had invited many famous doctors from Sky City to treat her grandpa, but to no avail. None of them could cure her grandpa. She had even invited some top experts from abroad to have a look at him. However, her efforts proved futile as her grandpa's condition didn't improve, worsening day by day. Now, the elder had fallen into a coma, and these sons, who never cared for his condition, were instead only focused on dividing his properties and attempting to take over the Su family. Seeing their unfilial actions, Su Qiuyu felt sad, angry, and helpless. She was just a 23-year-old beauty. Only she could understand how powerless she was when fighting these uncles and aunties of the Su family. What explanation? Second uncle fell silent for a minute. He then said in a stern voice, "Don't you know better than any of us? We hadn't seen the elder ever since he was bedridden more than 3 months ago. What's your motive for blocking everyone from visiting the old man? The Su family is headless once the elder has fallen. Now, all the Su family's businesses are in turmoil. The pharmaceutical sector, in particular, experienced a sharp drop in turnover this quarter. You claim that Grandpa has asked you to take over the Su family, but we hadn't heard anything from him before. So, how can we believe you? You're young, and on top of that, you're a woman. How can we entrust the whole Su family to your hands? Qiuyu, the Su family is in bad condition, and we should join together to overcome this hardship. Now, let's go in and visit the elder. If he's at the point of death, then we should let him make out a testament and determine the next leader as soon as possible. Otherwise, the Su family will go downhill." Su Qiuyu's countenance changed slightly after she heard what second uncle had said. Her calm and dignified face became frosty. How could she be not willing to allow these bunch of people to visit the elder? But she was worried that there was a traitor in the family who might harm the elder. Su Qiuyu was in her prime, an age where she should get into a romantic relationship and lead a carefree lifestyle. Did she want to be a capable woman who worked day and night to support the whole Su family? She didn't want to, but she had to. This was because of the last words the elder had said to her before he fell into a coma 3 months ago. Take care of and support the Su family until he wakes up. Su Qiuyu would be the next family head if the elder couldn't make it. Although the elder was old, his mind was clear. He'd already seen through his 2 surviving sons, who were looking forward to his death, eager to divide the property of Su family. None of you are allowed to visit Grandpa now. Su Qiuyu's voice was cold, emitting a strong aura. I'll continue to be in charge of the family business. Grandpa's condition has improved, and I believe he will wake up within a month. Can't second uncle even wait for a month? Or do you have other intentions in your mind? You bastard! A woman suddenly appeared beside her second uncle, Su Ming. It was Su Qiuyu's second auntie, Lu Yin. As a member of an aristocratic family, Lu Yin was 45 years old, but she looked like a 25-year-old young girl. She was gorgeous in dress, tall and beautiful, but she revealed her sharp and unkind personality as soon as she spoke. How dare you speak like that to your second uncle? You even tried to slander him? What do you mean by we can't wait for a month? We have been worried about him ever since he fell sick. And now, 3 months have passed, and you want us to wait another month? I suspect it's you who put Dad under house arrest. You're such a vicious, black-hearted woman. How unfortunate for Dad who loves you and Xia Tian the most, and you do this kind of unfilial thing to him. Second uncle and second auntie echoed each other. Su Qiuyu couldn't counter them. Qiuyu, I'm ordering you to step aside as your uncle. I won't leave unless I get to see Dad today, yelled Su Ming. Yes, we must see Dad today. I want him to give us an explanation. How could he leave the Su family in your hands, in the hands of a woman? Could it be you have already done something to the elder because you want to take over the Su family? Su Qiuyu's third uncle, Su Hai, had stepped forward as well. Since the second brother and third brother of the Su family had stepped forward, the rest of the members from the collateral families were emboldened and joined them in pressuring Su Qiuyu. Move aside, Qiuyu. We must see the elder today. Move away now, or else we'll enter by force. The Su family is the biggest family in Sky City. If we let you continue to control the Su family, sooner or later, the Su family will become like those unworthy small family clans. You're committing a sin, you know? More and more Su family members began to oppose Su Qiuyu. In the end, the whole Su family was pressuring Su Qiuyu. No matter how profound or clever she was, Su Qiuyu was only a woman. When she saw the entire family questioning her, scolding her, and insulting her, she felt pain in her heart as if it was stung by needles. She had no one to rely on. Her parents had died in a car crash when she was young, and only her little sister and grandpa were left in the world. However, her grandpa was bedridden, her little sister was playful and willful, her uncles and aunties only cared about the family business and not about grandpa's health. This kind of battle within the rich and powerful, of dog eat dog, and the devil take the hindmost. All the accusations, charges, incomprehension, and contempt, all of these fell on Su Qiuyu, a 23-year-old girl. She really wanted to find a place where she could cry out loud, but she knew she couldn't. She refused to lower her head, because the crown would fall. She refused to cry, because those sluts would laugh at her. Sister. Su Xiatian felt her big sister's helplessness. With reddened eyes, she held tightly to her sister's wrist, trying to give Su Qiuyu some strength and support. Those Su family members who were blinded by wealth and power had surrounded them. In their eyes, these two sisters were just two little lambs ready to be slaughtered. Aya, is the Su family holding a feast today? I'm just in time then. Come, come, come. Prepare another set of cutlery for me. Let's talk while we eat. Suddenly, a languid voice echoed in the lobby. Everybody was stunned and stared blankly at the door. Chapter 326. Chapter 326, Life's Most Depressing Matter. Qin Feng returned with Su Xiatian. But Su Xiatian discovered something was wrong once she walked through the entrance of the mansion's main building. She abandoned Qin Feng and ran up to her sister. By the time Qin Feng walked to the mansion door, everyone was confronting Su Qiuyu. No one noticed Qin Feng, who stood at the entrance for over 10 minutes. Qin Feng was furious. When had he ever been neglected this way? If this were Acropolis, Qin Feng would have used the Qin family's strength to exterminate the whole family. With one cry, he amazed everyone present. His simple utterance made everyone look at him. Everyone looked at him with different expressions. Most of them were distrustful, wondering where this idiot had come from. Only the beautiful Su family sisters were swept with happiness. Su Xiatian had seen how capable Qin Feng was in all aspects. Now she counted on Qin Feng to put these aunts and uncles in their places. And Su Qiuyu was mostly surprised. In the morning, she called Qin Feng, but she waited for an entire day, and he still hadn't come. She thought that she'd gotten the wrong idea about him and that he wouldn't come. Who knew that he'd arrive at the most important moment? But could one Qin Feng turn the situation around? Who was this guy? Uncle Li, how did this person get in here? Where are the Su family guards? How could they let in every Tom, Dick, and Harry? Second uncle regained his senses first and yelled the name of the Su family's elderly butler. A gray-haired elder immediately ran out with 4 guards in black trailing him. Mister, this is the heart of the Su household. If you have no business here, leave this instant, said Uncle Li as he looked at Qin Feng. I know this is the Su household. Why else would I come here? Qin Feng waved his hand carelessly under countless stares, looking like he was in his own house. He minded his own business and walked up to Su Xiatian, extended an arm, and wrapped her into his embrace. My little wife is here. I was looking to play with her. Gasp. Once Qin Feng said this, everyone in the house gasped in surprise. They all stared at Qin Feng in shock and looked as if they wanted to eat him alive. Su Qiuyu's calm expression changed greatly, becoming stormy. Since when did her little sister hang out with Qin Feng? Su Xiatian, on the other hand, ground her teeth angrily. If looks could kill, Qin Feng would have died hundreds of times over. Su Xiatian wanted to fight her way out of Qin Feng's embrace, but he was too strong. The more she struggled, the more it looked like she was leaning into Qin Feng's arms, resulting in an even more tender and lovey-dovey scene. Sinful woman. You really are a sinful woman. Second uncle finally regained his senses and glared ferociously at Su Xiatian. You've been learning bad things day and night, and now you even have the guts to bring home a wild man? And you're someone's little wife? How unlucky this is for our family clan. How unlucky. Second uncle's denunciation made the others lament again and again. Qiuyu, you and your sister lost your parents early. Xiatian became such a frivolous woman because you as her older sister didn't teach her properly. Since you can't even control your little sister, how can we let you manage a large family business? Today, as your second uncle, I revoke your position as acting head of household. The Su family needs to elect a new head of household. Your father is the eldest son of the Su family, but he died early in a car accident. Now, as the second son, the head of household position should be mine. Today, the Su family is a mess. Every aspect of our business is in terrible shape. At this time, I'll stand forth to bear too much danger and responsibility. Thus, I hope everyone will support me. In the future, I'll do everything I can to manage the Su family business. Su Qiuyu's face fell, and cold sweat was about to drip out of her head. She knew second uncle gathered and brought the Su family here tonight to steal the head of household position. Now, he finally could wait no more. He finally revealed his foxtail. Slap. Before the spectators could express their support for second uncle, Su Ming, and before Su Qiuyu had to make her difficult decision, a slap echoed through the parlor. The originally noisy scene instantly fell quiet. The only sound that could be heard was the spectators' heavy panting. Su Ming was slapped by someone, and he was slapped in the head, and Qin Feng did it. No one saw when Qin Feng had gone from beside the beautiful sisters to Su Ming's side, But no one cared about this. They stared with their mouths agape, so shocked that they wanted to eat their fists. This wild brat, who was an outsider, actually had the gall to hit Su Ming. And he hit him so resolutely. A little 20-year-old brat hit an almost 50-year-old man. This scene was like that of a teacher reprimanding his student. Even the beautiful Su family sisters covered their mouths in shock. They felt that there was something wrong with Qin Feng's brain. "Itch, how dare you hit your elder, brat? You actually fucking." Su Ming finally regained his senses, and his eyes almost bugged out of his skull. He'd uttered half of what he wanted to say when Qin Feng slapped him in the head again. Slap. The sound was crisp, and it was clear that this slap was stronger than the last. "Say, uncle, I'm not quite familiar with you, so don't joke around with me, okay?" Qin Feng looked impatiently at Su Ming. "You say I'm a wild man? Where's your evidence? What right do you have to slander a person's integrity and soul? You don't know how pure and outstanding of a man I am. Do you know that I concentrated on emotion from beginning to end? Do you know how easy it is to destroy someone when you so easily slander them without fully understanding them? Especially an outstanding and ambitious youth like me. Plus, I have my own personal lawyer. I'll call my lawyer over right now and sue you for bringing your family to ruin. Even your wife will have to run off with another man, and your son would have to acknowledge a grandma over 70 as his godmother. Don't make me mad. Why aren't you saying anything? Are you frightened by my might and talent?" Su Ming really wasn't speaking. However, this wasn't because he was startled by Qin Feng's background, but he was shocked by the guy's intelligence. He didn't even know how to refute Qin Feng. This person was unreasonable, more so than the she-devil. And he didn't use common sense, hitting whenever he wished to. When he spoke, it was incoherent and senseless. Most importantly, the guy was good at fighting. Su Ming didn't even know how he ended up in front of him, much less dodge Qin Feng's 2 slaps. Uncle Li, why are you standing there like a dummy? Did you not see the brat hit me? Hurry and cripple him." Su Ming was stunned for a while, but he didn't think to refute Qin Feng. In the end, he shouted angrily and wanted to use brute force to kill Qin Feng. "Suqiu, you didn't have the time to stop Uncle Li when the 4 guards pounced at Qin Feng." As the Su family's guards, these 4 people were not ordinary people. 2 were underground street fighting experts, and the other 2 were retired soldiers from the special forces. With the 4 of them working together, their power was frightening. Bang! One of the street fighting experts arrived beside Qin Feng and sent a punch at him. Qin Feng punched the man's iron fist and sent the man flying. Boom! The second, a retired soldier, aimed a flying kick at Qin Feng's head. Qin Feng remained standing in place without moving, and then an airy fist hit the retired soldier's thigh and sent him hurtling toward the 3-meter-high rooftop and splitting the roof. The remaining 2 men froze briefly. They were startled by Qin Feng's strength, but as the Su family's guards, the 2 men weren't cowards. After freezing for an instant, they rushed toward Qin Feng again. One of them pulled out a dagger, and the other took off his belt. They attacked Qin Feng simultaneously from the right and left, respectively. Qin Feng made no moves this time. He merely stood in place, straight and tall like a pine tree. When the 2 guards arrived ferociously before Qin Feng, they jerked to a stop. It seemed as though there was an invisible qi barrier, preventing them from getting even half a step closer. They could only be seen using a lot of effort, but they couldn't be seen attacking Qin Feng. Fuck, are you 2 filming a movie? Is there a need to make it so fake? You 2, attack and whip that wild brat to death with your belts. What the fuck are you doing? The Su family spent so much money to hire you men as guards, and this is what you're showing us? Most of the Su family members were business people, so they didn't understand martial arts. Even if they did practice the martial arts, they knew only the basics. They probably hadn't even achieved stage 1 energy, so they didn't understand the current situation. They definitely wouldn't believe that Qin Feng was using inner qi to prevent the 2 from attacking. You unless he's an inner qi expert? A real martial artist? Most of the people didn't understand, but this didn't mean that none of them did. In the crowd, an attentive elder saw the clues. This shout frightened the remaining people and made them impatient. In particular, second uncle's family's gazes became icy. Everyone heard of martial artists, but weren't they amazing people that only existed in Chinese legends? Could it be that these stories weren't legends, but real events in history? Just thinking about this shocked everyone so badly that they couldn't speak. Bang! An enormous sound was heard. Qin Feng's body seemed to suddenly explode, and a powerful rush of qi shot out of it, sending the two flying away. He really is an inner qi expert, a martial artist from the legends. The elder exclaimed again, and everyone panted heavily. Qin Feng injured people without touching them, like the moves in wuxia novels. This was truly eye-opening. Uncle Li was stunned, the Su family was stunned, and Su Xiatian was stunned. They never thought Qin Feng was so powerful. Only Su Qiuyu was calm, because she knew Qin Feng was powerful. Hey, what are you doing, you wild brat? Do you know who he is? He's the Su family's second-in-command, and he's about to become the Su family's new head of household. How dare you hit my husband? I'll get you. You human trash. If you even hit a woman, then wait to die. The atmosphere became awkward as Su Ming's wife, Lu Yin, suddenly stepped forward. Seeing that Qin Feng ruined her family's happy moment, Lu Yin immediately went from being a refined noblewoman to a violent and unreasonable shrew. As they say, money and power can change one's personality and soul. Lu Yin threw caution to the wind. She knew she couldn't beat Qin Feng in a fight, but she wanted to get him mad. If Qin Feng dared to hit a woman, he would be publicly shamed. Then, the Su family would all attack Qin Feng. Then what could the brat do? Wait, don't touch me, you dirty woman. Qin Feng never hit women, especially dirty ones. He moved slightly and dodged Lu Yan's attack. Don't think I don't know that you've slept with a lot of men. You're having an affair with that man. Qin Feng pointed at Su Qiuyu's third uncle, Su Hai. Su Hai was so shocked that he almost ran. Lu Yin was even more shocked, and she stopped attacking Qin Feng. Seems like I hit the nail on the head. And that man, you've slept with them all. Qin Feng pointed at several men, and Lu Yan's expression changed again and again. In the end, she looked as malevolent as a beast. Third younger brother, get the fuck over here. Su Ming was angry and suddenly dragged the third brother, Su Hai, out. Is this wild brat telling the truth? I treat you well, and you actually had the guts to have an affair with your sister-in-law behind my back? Second big brother, how can you listen to this wild brat's crazy talk? I think the sisters just found him and brought him back to deal with us. Su Hai was so afraid that cold sweat streamed from his forehead. Lu Yin immediately ran up to Su Ming, hugged his arm, and spoke coquettishly, Hubby, how could you doubt me? I never did anything to you that I would have to apologize for. Su Ming was previously consumed by his anger, but he now calmed down and his mind cleared. He looked coldly at Qin Feng with a playful smile. You think this elder will listen to your bullshit? Uncle Li, call the police and have this brat arrested. After hearing the command, Uncle Li was about to make the call. Then, Qin Feng spoke again. Are you dumb or what? I helped to capture your wife's man, and you're still letting them make a fool of you. Qin Feng looked at Su Ming and shook his head. Then, he pointed at third uncle Su Hai and said, Don't make excuses for yourself. I came into this mansion a while ago, and when I was at a window, I saw you two carrying on your affair. Let me ask you, she's wearing purple underwear today, right? Su Hai was frightened to death because he really had just secretly frolicked with his sister-in-law before coming to the mansion parlor. Now that Qin Feng accurately pointed it out, he was extremely anxious. Don't speak nonsense, brat. Sister-in-law is wearing black underwear. She definitely isn't wearing purple underwear. Thus, I most definitely didn't have any relations with sister-in-law tonight. Su Hai had just spoken when a wave of sighs arose from all around. Slap. Su Ming gave Su Hai a strong slap in the face. You beast, you're not even fucking comparable to a beast. Life's most helpless moments. When you discover during the wedding night that your wife isn't a virgin, and when you're taking the head of household position and discover that your younger brother and your wife are having an affair. Su Ming had imagined this glorious moment countless times. He was going to take the head of household position in front of all the Su family members and gain control of the Su family. However, now that the situation had come to this, Su Ming wanted to die. How could he be in the mood to stay? Though the relatives behind him no longer saying anything, Su Ming could feel that they were silently jeering him. Oomph! Human trash, adulterers! Su Ming scoffed coldly, turned, and left the parlor. His son, Su Tao, looked at his mother and third uncle, then looked at his father. He was depressed. Who should he acknowledge as his father? Chapter 327. Chapter 327. Make your choice, big sister or little sister. The situation changed too fast. Nobody had regained their senses, yet even though Su Ming had left, hadn't they decided to confront the Su family's sisters together and divide the property of the Su family? Why did this person leave without saying anything? Dear uncles and aunties, it's gotten late now. Let's leave the rest for tomorrow. Uncle Li, help me to see the visitors out. Su Qiuyu regained her composure soon after. Indeed, she had the finesse to head the Su family. She'd recovered her usual indifferent and strong aura the folks from the Su family had lost. Uncle Li returned to Su Qiuyu's side and looked at them with a smile, indicating they could leave now. The clamor to vie for the leadership of Su family had been led by Su Ming. Since he'd already gone, the rest of people didn't persist. This was because everybody was afraid of that powerful Qin Feng. More than 50 core and collateral family members shook their heads and sighed as they left. The packed lobby suddenly became cold and cheerless. It was early autumn, and the breeze was chilly. Su Qiuyu felt cold in her flimsy dress, and she coughed. Her burdens were too heavy. She was afraid she would collapse at any time and not wake up anymore. Miss Qiuyu, please pardon me for visiting so late. Qin Feng went to Su Qiuyu's side and hugged her lightly in his arms before she realized he was there. She was sheltered by Qin Feng's strong and tall body from the cold bite of the breeze. Su Qiuyu felt a warm sensation surge through her body as she stood in his arms. How could you hug my sister? Get your grubby paws off my sister, you rascal. Su Xiatian didn't know when Qin Feng arrived or where he came from. She was so angry that she started hammering Qin Feng. Ignoring Su Xiatian's little pink fists, Qin Feng placed his hands on the small of Su Qiuyu's back and transferred some qi into Su Qiuyu's body, warming her. Who should I hug if I release your sister, little wife? Should I hug you instead? Qin Feng was healing Su Qiuyu's body and at the same time teasing Su Xiatian. Su Xiatian felt an urge to kill Qin Feng. She delivered punch after punch, kick after kick at Qin Feng. However, Qin Feng was rather unaffected even though she wore herself out. You sweated a lot, little wife. Hurry up and go to take a bath now. It'll be bad if you see a cold. Su Qiuyu's face had become ruddy after Qin Feng helped her body recuperate for some time. He then released Su Qiuyu and hugged Su Xiatian in his arms. With a beaming smile, he sniffed Su Xiatian's body fragrance and said, "Let's go. Your good hubby will send you back." Su Xiatian wanted to break free of Qin Feng's embrace. However, she realized Qin Feng's hug was warm. The wind was breezy at night, and she felt cold after she'd sweated. In the end, she decided not to struggle anymore and remained quiet in Qin Feng's arms. They then went to her room together. Please take a good bath, little wife. I'll excuse myself now. Qin Feng spun around and left as soon as he saw Su Xiatian to her room. Su Xiatian was dumbstruck by Qin Feng's unusual action. She even felt a little bit lost in her heart. Am I not beautiful and sexy enough? Why did this man leave without asking to enter my room after walking me back? Is he still the vulgar, perverted Qin Feng? Qin Feng returned to the main building's lobby after he'd departed from Su Xiatian's room. The night was gloomy and the wind was chilly and restless. With a chiffon skirt and a snow-white mink coat draped over her shoulders, Su Qiuyu stood in front of the main building's door. She raised her head and stared blankly at the moon. Her body was curvaceous and graceful, and she could easily stir Qin Feng with merely the sight of her back. Her face was as exquisite as the moon, ethereal and unreal. Qin Feng hugged Su Qiuyu lightly from behind. Su Qiuyu's delicate body trembled slightly, but she didn't struggle for her freedom. A handsome man and a beauty embracing while admiring the moon. It was such a magnificent sight. How did you know second auntie and third uncle have an affair? Su Qiuyu's indifferent voice wafted over. Because I'm a genius in external strength and inner qi. I'm very sensitive to everybody's qi. Your second auntie is heavily clad with your third uncle's qi, so I'm certain that the two of them are having an affair, answered Qin Feng while enjoying himself sniffing Su Qiuyu's body fragrance. Did you really see them having an affair in secret, then? How could that be? I came back with Xia Tian, and when we arrived, everybody was already gathered in the lobby. Qin Feng scoffed. I'm pretty sure both of them did something before they came here. It's because there was more of your third uncle's qi on your second auntie's body than that of your second uncle. So, I pulled a trick on them and bingo. I got it right. And then third uncle's mind thrown into confusion. He couldn't withstand the pressure anymore and blurted everything out. Su Qiuyu nodded her head lightly. She'd been worried that she was wrong about Qin Feng, but now, it seemed that this candidate wasn't that bad at all. Qin Feng, did you bring the 100-year blood lotus that I gave to you? Asked Su Qiuyu all of a sudden. 100-year blood lotus? What is that? When did you give it to me? Qin Feng queried with a puzzled face. Su Qiuyu wasn't surprised by Qin Feng's reaction. She then spoke with a calm demeanor. The 100-year blood lotus is the treasure of the Su family, and it's passed down to the next leader of Su family. Before Grandpa was sick, he had handed it over to me and asked me to take care of it. So, Miss Qiuyu must protect it at all costs since it's such an important item. You must buy a few more safes and hide it inside some deep hidden passage. Qin Feng nodded his head seriously. Yeah, I need to keep it safe. The Su family will be a chaos if it falls into the hands of second uncle. Su Qiuyu then added, it's now kept in a very safe place. Is it true? I'm relieved, then. Qin Feng smiled. Su Qiuyu didn't pursue the discussion about the 100-year blood lotus. She abruptly spun around and looked fixedly into Qin Feng's eyes with her pair of beautiful eyes. Qin Feng, do you love me? Qin Feng wasn't surprised. He nodded his head lightly and said, Qiuyu is a beauty that could topple a city and a nation, dignified and virtuous. Of course I like you. Su Qiuyu's countenance became extremely grave. Then stay away from my little sister. Help me suppress the Su family's wild schemes until my grandpa wakes up. After that, I'll marry you. Qin Feng never expected this felicity to come so soon. He was slightly thrilled and said, Can I get some reward first? No, you can't. Su Qiuyu shook her head and rejected his demand. Of course, I'll give my blessing too if you favor my little sister more. After everything is done, I'll personally hold a wedding for both of you. You're willing to sacrifice your little sister for the sake of the Su family's business? Qin Feng looked at Su Qiuyu, astounded. Don't you worry. I won't betray my little sister. It's just that I can tell from what I've seen that she likes you. She has never allowed any guy to hug her, nor brought any guy out with her. Moreover, she won't allow a guy to casually call her little wife. Maybe she hasn't realized yet, but I think she's quite fond of you. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to you too if you really like my little sister. Su Qiuyu didn't fail her title as Sky City's most talented woman. She was highly intelligent, quick-witted, and agile with her mind. Even though she remained silent most of the time, she had seen through it all. She just didn't want to speak out. I like little sister Xia Tian, but I like Miss Qiuyu as well. What if? With a grin on his face, Qin Feng looked at Su Qiuyu. However, before he could finish his words, he was halted by a cold Su Qiuyu. Impossible. What do you think of my Su family? What do you think of my little sister and me? How could both of us marry you at the same time? Then wouldn't be both of us become your mistress and concubine? Sorry. I can't do that. Qin Feng felt awkward. What a quick-witted woman. How can she see through my intentions before I could finish speaking? It's not because I'm intelligent. It's because your vulgarity is too obvious. Su Qiuyu's indifferent voice wafted over again when Qin Feng was reflecting. Faced with this intelligent, beautiful, and hot woman, Qin Feng suddenly had the urge to run away. Okay, enough talking. Let's go into the room to visit Grandpa. Both of them arrived at a suite under Su Qiuyu's lead. It was a 1,080 square foot room, tidy and clean. The room was decorated with antique woods, and the room was filled with a faint woody fragrance. A large bed was placed in the innermost chamber. A white-haired old man was lying on top of it. The old man looked pale and yellow, extremely skinny. He seemed malnourished and to lack exercise. Grandpa! Su Qiuyu rushed over to her grandpa's bedside and cried. This queen who'd retained her calm composure and refused to step down when facing the Su family shed her disguise, revealing the softest part of her inner heart before her grandpa and Qin Feng. At this moment, she was neither the female leader of Su family nor the Sky City's #1 noble beauty. She was merely a 23-year-old young girl, a little girl that hadn't grown up in her grandpa's eyes. Qiuyu, the elder has been like this for 3 months? Qin Feng walked over and squatted beside Su Qiuyu. He patted her back, comforting her. He's been in a coma for 3 months and 8 days. Both his body and his breathing are weakening day by day. I'm afraid he doesn't have much time left. Realizing Qin Feng was still around, Su Qiuyu hastily wiped away her tears and resumed her usual noble and dignified demeanor. Qin Feng extended 2 fingers and pressed on the elder's wrist. He noticed the elder's pulse was extremely weak, and he almost thought the elder was dead. Master, the elder might be poisoned. Little Pig's voice suddenly resounded in Qin Feng's mind. Poisoned? What kind of poison? Qin Feng hastily communicated with Little Pig using telepathy. I'm unsure which poison it is, but I see his face is pale white, and his lips are dark purple. On top of that, he fell into a coma for a long time, and no one knows why. I'm pretty sure these are symptoms of poisoning, analyzed Little Pig. Chapter 328. Chapter 328, Poisoned. Little Pig was a cute, soft pink pig, but you mustn't belittle it. As the Hedonist sovereign system's battle pet and NPC with multiple roles, he had the system's various techniques, pills, martial skills, equipment, and so on in his grasp. Every time Qin Feng didn't understand something, he had to ask Little Pig to explain it to him. Master, you're now a Stage 3 inner chi expert. You can use your inner chi to help the elder force the poison out of his body, continued Little Pig. It's that easy? Just force the poison out? Qin Feng became excited. If he could use inner chi to help force out the poison and save the elder, then the Su family would escape their crisis, and he would become the elder's savior and the entire Su family's VIP. Then, Xia Tian and Qiuyu would be extremely thankful toward him. The 2 sisters could only give their lives to repay such a large favor. Then, Su Qiuyu wouldn't reject him like she did before. Master, forcing out the poison is just the first step. At most, it would alleviate the elder's condition. If you're lucky, the elder might come to. If you're unlucky, he'll remain in a coma. Little Pig immediately splashed a bucket of ice water on Qin Feng's excitement and added with disdain, the elder has been sick for over 3 months, so he's been poisoned for at least 3 months as well. At this point, the poison is probably spreading into his vital organs. It won't be easy to force the poison out. Master, you must break through to Stage 4 inner chi. Then, you can perfect your ability to release inner chi and force the poison out of the elder's organs. Stage 4 inner chi was an important threshold to cross. Martial artists in the stages prior to internal stage 4 only practiced chi control, and they couldn't release their inner chi that well. In other words, even if they could release chi, it would only be in a small area and it would be an uncontrolled release. When Qin Feng was dealing with the Su family guards in the parlor, He released qi. However, the qi was powerful, and Qin Feng couldn't accurately control it. Also, it only emerged around Qin Feng and couldn't be released any farther. After internal stage 4, one could release qi as one wished. With the breakthroughs of each stage of inner qi, the qi attack power became stronger and extended farther and farther. Fuck. Can't you say everything in one go next time? Qin Feng's great mood instantly plunged, and his fantasies were also immediately annihilated. How could he not want to break into stage 4 inner qi sooner? He still had to cultivate pills to awaken Lin Bei Bei. But how could breaking into stage 4 inner qi be so easy? Countless inner qi cultivators cultivated for their entire lives, but never broke through to it. Since you're being mean, I'll go back and continue sleeping. I certainly don't want to help you pick up girls. Little Pig harumphed coldly, swayed its sexy pink butt, climbed back into his den in the system, and said nothing more. Qin Feng promptly changed his demeanor to coax out Little Pig, but the pig ignored him no matter how he coaxed. Qin Feng, how is Grandpa? Su Qiuyu knew Qin Feng was strong and had extraordinary abilities. Seeing him feel her grandfather's pulse, she now set all her hopes on Qin Feng, who knew if this man that always brought about miracles could amaze them again. I can't be certain yet. Let me try. Qin Feng looked at Su Qiuyu. Go outside and guard the door. I want to treat the elder by transferring qi to him. During that time, I can't be disturbed by anyone. This was Qin Feng's first time using inner qi to expel poison, so he was cautious. If he didn't do it right, he might die, not to mention the elder. Su Qiuyu gazed into Qin Feng's eyes and hesitated for a good while before standing up. Before she left, she hugged Qin Feng. If you can save Grandpa, I'll promise you anything. After leaving the parlor, Su Ming returned to his house and sat on the sofa for a short while. Lu Yin then brought their son, Su Tao, into the house. Son, go back to your room and rest. Lu Yin pushed Su Tao. After seeing her son run into the house, she suddenly knelt in front of Su Ming with a kerplunk. Husband, I'm sorry. Can't kill me. Lu Yin didn't dare look at Su Ming's cold expression. Lu Yin couldn't be more familiar with how cold and ruthless this man was. Her adultery was exposed, and the other man was Su Ming's younger brother. Lu Yin was afraid to imagine the terrifying consequences. The situation has already passed. What's the use of apologizing? Su Ming wasn't as furious as she imagined. On the other hand, a strange smile was on his face. Get up. The family is in chaos, but we're still husband and wife, so we have to join hands in fighting for the head of household position. Acquiring more of the family business is our focus, and everything else can be put aside. Compared to the head of household position, the rest isn't worth mentioning. Su Ming noticed that Lu Yin didn't dare stand up, so he walked up to her and helped her to her feet. Lu Yin, you were too much this time, but since it happened already, I won't blame you. In the future, make sure you don't do it again. You aren't the only one who had an affair. At social events outside, I've touched lots of women, so we can be considered even. From now on, our goal is the same, to work as one to fight for the head of household position. Was Su Ming really not angry anymore? He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. His own younger brother did his woman. Any man would be furious. However, Su Ming was born into a rich family. He'd grown up under the spotlight. His restraint was extremely high, and he had a ruthless mindset. How could he trade a woman for the entire Su family business? Of course, knowing about Lu Yin and his third younger brother Su Hai's adultery, he was afraid that third brother was trying to vie for the head of household position and had purposely seduced Lu Yin to rope her in with his people. Lu Yin was just a pawn Su Hai wanted on his side. He wanted to use her to find out Su Ming's plans and tarnish his name. Hubby, you're really willing to forgive me this once? Lu Yin trembled and looked at Su Ming. She was still terrified of him. Su Ming smiled, extended a hand, and tenderly caressed Lu Yin's charming face. Of course I forgive you. I won't forget the help you've provided me and the contributions you've made to the Su family. How could I throw you in prison because of a momentary lapse in judgment? Lu Yan's eyes began to redden. She said while choking with sobs, then, why did you leave the parlor without our son and me earlier? I thought you never wanted me again. I was pretending to be angry because tonight's plans have changed due to the appearance of that wild brat Qinfeng. He's an internal cultivation expert fearlessly helping the sisters. With him, we can't force Su Qiuyu to submit tonight. Thus, I thought it was better to step back and prevent myself from getting humiliated any further. Every rich son is an expert actor, so Su Ming was naturally a solid acting expert. He was willing to throw everything away to fight for the role as head of household. Self-respect, face, integrity? Could these things be traded for money? Could they be eaten when one was hungry? Hubby, I was wrong. I'm sorry, to you and our son. I won't do it again. After Lu Yin understood his reasoning, she immediately burrowed into Su Ming's embrace. Su Ming rubbed Lu Yan's back affectionately with a murderous expression. Lu Yin, you were silly. That brat Su Hai was clearly getting close to you on purpose. Don't you know why? Was it really for your body? He isn't lacking in money. He could spend money and get A or B-list actresses to play with. Why would he risk having an affair with you? Lu Yin suddenly trembled. She realized that her plot couldn't compare to the two Su family men. Who knew that with one act of carelessness, she would become Su Hai's pawn? Hubby, Su Hai really is a bastard. I'll stay unswervingly by your side from now on. I want to personally take revenge on that stinking brat and make him die a premature death. Lu Yin immediately changed her demeanor. Okay, I've seen your sincerity, and I believe that you just had a lapse in judgment. Su Ming smiled at Lu Yin and said, You suffered a fright today, so rest early. Lu Yin nodded and immediately went into a room in the house. Su Ming smoked in the empty parlor for a long time. Then, he pulled out his phone and called a number. Hey, you're done, right? You're the Su family head now. An elderly voice came over the phone. There was a mistake in the plan. Now the situation has changed enormously. The beautiful sisters found an expert to help them. I'm afraid I won't be able to get the head of household position on my own, replied Su Ming sadly. Nonsense, the elder's voice rebuked. He was quiet for a while before continuing. How is that old man that refuses to die? Ever since he became bedridden 3 months ago, no one in the Su family has seen him. It's unclear whether he's alive or dead right now. He's probably not dead after 3 months, but if no one saves him, this elder is certainly going to die in less than half a month. Who did the sisters invite? All I know is that the brat's name is Qinfeng. His identity is unclear, replied Su Ming honestly. The other line fell quiet for a good while, then laughter was heard. Haha, so we meet again. That brat has your 100-year blood lotus. My abilities have just recovered, and I was about to settle with the brat. Who would have thought he'd deliver himself to our doorstep? Hold back for now. I'll be there as soon as possible. The call already ended. Su Ming tossed the phone to the side, and his whole body fell limp. Though it was only over the phone, he could still feel a powerful oppression. Those two people were too powerful. Even Su Ming felt like an ant before him. That man could use one hand to strangle him to death. He originally hadn't wanted to call out the person behind him, but Qin Feng's sudden appearance caught him unprepared. When facing a martial artist like Qin Feng, Su Ming could only hire martial artists to deal with Qin Feng. This would be a violent internal conflict. An intense massacre was about to begin. Chapter 329. Chapter 329. I like to be humiliated. Su Qiuyu waited outside her grandpa's room for 2 hours. The moon was getting higher. Suddenly, a bad hunch stirred within Su Qiuyu. Could it be Qin Feng is pansexual? This person is frivolous and perverted. Will grandpa be fine staying alone with him in a room? Outside the room, Su Qiuyu's imagination was running amok while inside. Qin Feng was so tired that he was bathed in sweat. If he learned of Su Qiuyu's notions about him, Qin Feng would be so angry that he'd vomit blood and die from qi explosion. This was because she had insulted his personality. Qin Feng and the elder sat face to face with their legs crossed on a red wooden bed. The elder was leaning back against the wall while Qin Feng had his hands on the elder's chest. A cloud of steam was emanating from Qin Feng's body, as if he just came out from sauna. Qin Feng had been forcing the poison out from the elder's body according to Little Pig's method. This was his first time utilizing his qi to heal a person, so the process was rather slow. Besides, Qin Feng was merely a stage 3 inner qi expert, and he was weak at releasing qi. So, it was even harder for him to circulate his qi within Elder Su's body and force the poison out. Qin Feng had just succeeded in forcing the elder to spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood, after working hard for 2 hours straight. Plus, this was blood that circulated in the elder's veins. Qin Feng didn't dare to touch the poison in the elder's organs as he was afraid he might crush them. Phew! Qin Feng released a long and pure breath. This was the third treatment. Qin Feng had been repeating the process of inhale qi, exhale qi, circulate qi, and transfer qi into the elder's body to force the poison out. This process seemed like nothing, but only Qin Feng knew how tiring it was. He even felt it was 10 times more tiring than when he played with 3 women in one night previously. But repeating this process was beneficial to Qin Feng. He noticed the qi within his body had become thicker, and he was another step closer to breaking through to stage 4. Qin Feng had finally found an ingenious method to cultivate his qi faster, which he hadn't known last time. Pfft! Elder Su spurted another mouthful of poisonous blood. The blood was black and smelly. Even though Qin Feng had placed a couple of bowls between them to see the elder's blood, he still got showered from top to bottom by this mouthful of bad blood. Thump! The door was opened by somebody at the same time. Su Qiuyu came in to take a look because she was impatient. When she saw that her grandpa had spewed blood, she was so frightened that she rushed forward and hugged her grandpa and sent a furious glare at Qin Feng. "What are you doing, Qin Feng? Why did you harm my grandpa? Who sent you here?" Qin Feng hadn't explained to Su Qiuyu that her grandpa was poisoned, so she didn't know that Qin Feng was actually helping Elder Su to force the poison out of his body. She thought Qin Feng harmed her grandpa when she saw he'd vomited blood. Su Qiuyu had never been so afraid and in despair as she was now. She placed all her hope in Qin Feng, and she never expected that this guy was a bad person too. She was lost and didn't know what to do. "Qiuyu, give me some tissue paper. Your grandpa's bad blood almost blew my head off." Qin Feng brushed off Su Qiuyu's accusation and urged her to get him some tissue paper. "Why should I harm your grandpa? Besides, I can easily kill the elder with a palm strike if I really want to. Why would I wait this long?" Su Qiuyu regained her senses after she heard Qin Feng's grumble. Indeed, Qin Feng had a point. He should have made his move earlier if he wanted to harm her grandpa. How could he sit still in the room for 2 hours? "What happened, Qin Feng?" Su Qiuyu was ashamed for misunderstanding Qin Feng. When she saw that Qin Feng's whole body was soaked in bad blood, she then pulled out her silk handkerchief and wiped off the blood on Qin Feng's face carefully, regardless of the bad smell. Su Qiuyu's body fragrance lingered on her handkerchief. Qin Feng, who had been shrouded in the smell of poisonous blood, regained his vitality after he was exposed to Su Qiuyu's fresh fragrance. "Qiuyu, your grandpa was poisoned," said Qin Feng, looking at Su Qiuyu after he had recovered from dizziness. "What? Grandpa was poisoned?" Su Qiuyu halted her movement abruptly. This was the first time Qin Feng saw a shocked expression on her face. How could that be? Who poisoned Grandpa? His diet was specially prepared by his own chef and delivered by the old butler, Uncle Li, to his room. How could he be poisoned? "Did you guess it wrongly, Qin Feng?" Su Qiuyu was so nervous, she clung tightly to Qin Feng's arm. Qin Feng felt a sudden leap of sympathy for her. He looked fixedly at Su Qiuyu and pondered in his heart, how come this dignified, wise, and calm woman suddenly became so restless? Qin Feng knew the reason. Of course, Su Qiuyu knew it herself as well. Both of them were smart people. They had already seen through the filthy conspiracy behind this incident. Qiuyu, why do you have to ask me if you already have the answer? It's just that you don't want to accept the truth. Qin Feng placed his hands on Su Qiuyu's shoulders and said earnestly, fighting between the rich and powerful, killing among siblings. These are common in aristocratic families. If your second uncle could bring people to force you to submit to him and step down from the position as the head of household, why couldn't others have poisoned the elder in secret? Exactly. Qin Feng had known the elder was poisoned by none other than the people in the Su family. On top of that, that culprit had to be very close to the elder. As for Su Qiuyu, she'd thought of the same thing as well when she learned the elder was poisoned. It was just that she refused to accept the truth, so she lost control. Qin Feng, do you think Grandpa was poisoned by second uncle and his family? Su Qiuyu had been trained by her grandpa for a long time to preside over the Su family's matters. As a result, she was exceptionally good at controlling her own emotions. She had already recovered her usual calm demeanor. I'm not very sure about that. After all, I just came to your Su mansion not long ago, and I'm not very familiar with your relatives. Qin Feng shook his head and continued, but I think you can start from the old butler, Uncle Li. He played an important role in this incident. Qin Feng's words enlightened Su Qiuyu but startled her as well. She'd never suspected Uncle Li to be the culprit. It wasn't because Su Qiuyu was stupid, but because Uncle Li was very loyal to her grandpa and had followed him for more than 30 years. Su Qiuyu really didn't want Uncle Li to be the culprit. Qin Feng, this incident may involve some very important people of the Su family. All of them are my relatives and grandpa's children. On top of that, I'm a woman. So, I'm afraid I can't handle this problem calmly. Can you help me to think of a plan to smoke out the mastermind? Qin Feng pondered for a while before nodded his head. I've an idea. Tomorrow. Qin Feng told Su Qiuyu his plan. Su Qiuyu's dim eyes suddenly shone brightly. At last, Su Qiuyu nodded her head firmly and exclaimed, "What a good plan! Let's follow it tomorrow." After they'd settled on a plan, Su Qiuyu then laid her grandpa on the bed and combed his hair carefully. She noticed that Qin Feng's treatment was effective. The elder's face had become ruddy and his breathing had become smoother. Su Qiuyu was very excited and happy at her grandpa's changes. Your grandpa was poisoned for too long. Some poison has spread into his organs. With an indifferent demeanor, Qin Feng then added, these poisons are weird and can't be detected by normal medical devices. Normally, these poison would spread across the whole body within 3 months, fully paralyzing the nervous and visceral systems and kill your grandpa. However, the man behind this incident is a cautious person. He's afraid somebody might notice your grandpa's condition, so he only used a very small amount of slow-acting poison. That's the reason why your grandpa could hold out until now. Earlier, I successfully forced some poison out of your grandpa's body with my inner qi. However, my current power is limited. So for now, I could only force the poison out from his veins. As for the poison in his organs, the most thing I can do is suppress it and prevent it from spreading even further. But rest assured, as soon as I break through to stage 4, I promise I'll heal the elder completely. Qin Feng reported the elder's condition to Su Qiuyu. She looked at Qin Feng with a grateful expression. Thank you, Qin Feng. I'll marry you as long as you can save my grandpa. Qin Feng had gotten to his feet. He then stood with his hands clasped behind him, tilted his head 45 degrees, looked at the waning moon, and talked with a soft tone. It isn't necessary, Miss Qiuyu. A forced marriage isn't a perfect marriage. I do not wish for Miss Qiuyu to marry me just because I saved your grandpa. By doing that, I will only get your body but not your heart and your soul, and this will humiliate me greatly. Qin Feng spoke earnestly. His countenance was grave. With the beauty of the hazy crescent moon behind him, Qin Feng's handsome face was even more distinctive, and a holy aura seemed to emanate from his body. This was a classic move on Qin Feng's part, playing hard to get. Although he looked like he was letting Su Qiuyu go, he was actually trying to impress Su Qiuyu and allow the seed of love to slip into the depths of her heart and sprout. Miss Qiuyu, you don't have to be touched by or thank me. In my eyes, it's normal for me to do all this for you. Seeing Su Qiuyu's eyes were slightly reddened, Qin Feng knew he'd succeeded with his petty trick. Qin Feng was kind of fed up with this ever-victorious feeling. When would he meet a perfect woman who would reject him once, allowing him to taste failure in love? Qin Feng, sand went into my eyes just now. I'm sorry. Su Qiuyu rubbed her eyes lightly and looked at Qin Feng with a calm expression. Thank you then. You're such a gentleman. I'll certainly reward you handsomely when everything is done. To be honest, I don't really like you, and it'll be a disgrace to you even if I marry you. I'm very sorry for my lack of consideration earlier on. I do hope for young Master Qin's forgiveness. Qin Feng was dumbstruck. His smile became stiff. He froze for a moment and spoke shamelessly. Actually, I like to be humiliated by other people. How about we stick to Miss Qiuyu's suggestion and get married as soon as we finished our task? Chapter 330. Chapter 330. Su Haonan awakens. In the parlor of the Su family mansion's main building, early in the morning, the Su relatives gathered once again to continue last night's unfinished business. Su Ming's family stood at the head of the group once again. The husband and wife had their arms intertwined and looked sweet and happy as if the person who committed adultery wasn't Lu Yan, and the person who got slapped in the face wasn't Su Ming. Across from the group were three people, Qin Feng and the beautiful Su sisters. Qin Feng stood to the side with his arm around Su Xiatian, pretending they were a couple. Su Qiuyu stood in the middle and looked at her aunts and uncles with a neutral expression. Aunties and uncles, you probably haven't eaten yet since it's so early. Uncle Li, is breakfast ready? The Su family clan hasn't had a dinner together in a while. Su Qiuyu glanced at Uncle Li. Uncle Li didn't immediately heed Su Qiuyu's implicit command. He looked at her hesitantly. Qiuyu, second uncle isn't criticizing you, but look at what you've become. The Su family is in the middle of a calamity. We aunts and uncles are very busy and so anxious we are losing sleep and forget to eat. On the other hand, you sleep and eat well, and you're in the mood for a family meal? Humph. As expected, this girl Qiuyu doesn't have her mind on the family business. With a girl like you as head of household, the Su business could collapse any time. Su Ming had just finished speaking when Lu Yan voiced her agreement. The Su family's prestige has existed for decades in Sky City. This enormous business was built generation after generation with blood, sweat, and tears. How could it fall during our generation? Qiuyu, listen to second auntie and give your second uncle the head of household position. He's the most capable and qualified in the Su family to take on the role. I'm sure that after he takes up the position, the Su family will quickly go back to normal. Su Ming's wife expressed her opinion, so the other people naturally chimed in with their exclamations of denunciation. They all opposed Su Qiuyu's continuing to hold the power in the family and insisted she give up the head of household role. In the face of these challenges and heartlessness, Su Qiuyu was calm as usual. It was almost as if they weren't talking about her. Do you really not want to eat breakfast together? I remember the last time the Su family had a feast was New Year's last year. Since it's rare that we've come together today, how could we not have a meal? With a calm voice, Su Qiuyu continued to talk about the meal. Meal. You really are pig-headed. You may have food to eat now, but after some time passes, our Su family won't even have food to eat. Su Ming roared coldly. Then, step by step, he led the crowd closer to Su Qiuyu. Qiuyu, get out of second uncle's way. Today, I must go into the inner part of the house and see how Dad is doing. I want to talk to him personally and have him transfer the head of household role to me. Su Ming couldn't wait. He didn't know how many years he'd been fighting for this role. In the beginning, Su Qiuyu's parents were still alive. Eldest brother had just been chosen as the successor. Then, eldest brother and sister-in-law died in a car crash, and the elder began raising Su Qiuyu. Then, He even gave Su Qiuyu control of the family's important business sectors. Su Ming felt unbalanced. In order to take the head of household position, he'd plotted day and night. Today was the best opportunity, and he couldn't wait any longer. Second uncle, it would be best if you stop coming forward. Otherwise, Xia Tian's boyfriend is going to make a move. Su Qiuyu looked coldly at the crowd. Haha, you think we're really afraid of that wild brat? He wants to make a move? Then come. I want to see if you can kill me right here. Su Ming wasn't afraid of Qin Feng today. He even wanted the brat to quickly make a move. Because there were policemen that Su Ming personally requested outside. As long Qin Feng made a move, the police would rush over and arrest Qin Feng for deliberately injuring someone. Uncle cuckold, you seem to want me to make a move. Qin Feng suddenly looked towards Su Ming with a smile. He hugged Su Qiuyu the whole time and enjoyed it. This girl's body was soft and the fruity scent on her body was invigorating. If the situation wasn't reaching a stage that Su Qiuyu couldn't control, Qin Feng would be too lazy to concern himself over these uncles and aunts. Su Xiatian rested in Qin Feng's embrace with extreme anger, especially since his hands were dishonest. They kept touching her small waist or pinched her perky behind. If her sister didn't tell her to cooperate with Qin Feng, she would have bitten this human trash to death. You scoundrel. What can you do other than martial arts? For the Su family's continued existence, I have to force my way into Dad's room even if I have to fight to the death. If you want to hit me, then hurry up. Don't be wishy-washy like a woman. Su Ming did all he could to control his emotions. However, the instant he heard Uncle Cuckold, a flash of frost chilled his expression. Outwardly, he didn't care about this matter, but he actually cared about it a lot. Don't get too excited, Uncle Cuckold. I was originally a rough person. However, now that I'm with little sister Xiatian, I'm the son-in-law of the Su family. The Su family is the most powerful family in Sky City, so I need to learn to control my temper and learn the hypocritical fronts that this large family puts on. Otherwise, if I hit someone and get arrested, then that'll be troublesome. Su Ming's expression changed again. He suddenly realized that he'd underestimated Qin Feng and Su Qiuyu. He didn't think the two of them would discover his intentions so early. However, that was no big deal because Su Ming was going to force his way into the inner room and see what the three people could do about it. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. I'm going inside to see Dad. Set on no more nonsense, Su Ming rushed into the inner room. Qin Feng and the beautiful sisters didn't stop him. Instead, they stepped out of his way. This action shocked Su Ming and the spectators a bit. They still hadn't gotten a grasp of the situation when an elderly but robust voice came from within the house. What a familiar sound. Little Minger, is there a reason why you're so anxious to see me? Elder Su's voice was suddenly heard. Some of the cowardly Su family members almost pissed themselves. Su Ming froze, and his legs began to tremble. He never thought that his father would have awoken. A golden path was formed by the parting of the masses. Passing through the crowd, Su Haonen walked over to the sisters with his head high and chest puffed out. All of the eyes fell on the elder's body. His complexion was rosy, and his steps were measured and healthy. His breathing was strong and stable, and his voice was loud and clear. Every step he took was light and soundless, but it struck the spectators' hearts like thunder. He is the Su family's backbone. After 3 months of silence, he stood before the audience again with indomitable spirit. Little Minger, why aren't you saying anything? Weren't you complaining about seeing me? Now you look like you've seen a ghost. Do you not want to see me? Or did you think you'd never see me again? Su Haonan smiled affectionately at Su Ming. Su Ming was so shocked that his teeth chattered. His brain was addled, and even after a long time, he couldn't even utter a syllable. Su Haonan smiled for a while, then looked away. His gaze swept across the faces of the spectators in the parlor. Early this morning, I heard from Qiuyu that a lot of relatives have come to the house. I considered setting up a table and having a family feast. We haven't gathered in a while, and this is a rare opportunity. But just as I was dressing in the room, I heard the noise outside as if you didn't want to eat this meal. Since this is the case, then why are you all standing here? Go home. Only Elder Sue's voice was present in the large parlor. The rest of the sounds were those of the Sue family members breathing heavily with their heads lowered. They all thought the Sue elder was on his last leg and wanted to use the opportunity to fight for the family business. Now that the elder stood vigorous and alive before them, how could they not be nervous and afraid? Xiaoyu, Xiatian, sit at the table with Grandpa. Sit next to me. Since these people don't like eating family feasts, then the three of us can just eat. Right? Qin Feng, come sit here as well. Sit beside Xiatian. Xiatian is my precious granddaughter. You have to treat her well. Elder Su said these words casually, but it surprised the audience so much that they almost shouted aloud. The elder usually loved the beautiful twin sisters the most, but they were women, so everyone was dissatisfied with having them take over the Su family business. However, the elder acknowledged Qin Feng and Su Xiatian's relationship in front of everyone. What did that mean? Did he mean to pass the Su family's massive family business to an outsider? Dad, so you were actually fine? That's too great. I'm elated. While the spectators were still stunned, the third brother, Su Hai, led the whole family to sit at the table. You didn't go outside for 3 months, and you didn't give us an accurate statement. I was unable to sleep at night due to worry, and my appetite was gone as well. Now that I see that you're healthy with more vitality than ever, I can finally eat a meal without worry. That's not right. Our whole family was worried to death. I don't know how long we were waiting for this meal. Lu Yin, Su Tao, come sit. Regaining his senses, Su Ming then put on a smile and sat down. Tower, didn't you repeat every day your wish for Grandpa to wake up soon? Now Grandpa is awake. Hurry and greet him. Grandpa, said Su Tao, while looking at Su Haonan. Su Haonan smiled and nodded. Su Cheng, your second brother greeted your grandpa. You greet him too. Su Hai slapped his son in the head. Grandpa, we're all really happy that you're better. Su Cheng smiled and greeted his grandfather as well. More and more people sat at the table and began complimenting Su Haonan to curry favor with him. At some point the butler, Uncle Li, ran off, but he went to the kin to instruct that the food be brought out. Su Qiuyu ignored these people's feigned affection. She kept an eye on her grandfather's condition, then brought him food and poured him spirits. On the other hand, Su Xiatian stomped powerfully on Qin Feng's foot with her high heels. The brat was being dishonest and placing his hand on her purple stocking-clad thighs. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.